The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on.
He missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Outside Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard.
Season 5 of the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series bore out one of the most unpredictable championships in the history of the league. As the drivers get ready to tackle Season 6 in 2015, new rules and a new format bring many questions. And the only way to get answers will be the action on the track. Longer races and driver swaps will keep everyone on their toes as we get ready to watch this season opener of the 2015 Continental Endurance Sports Car Series live on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Welcome to Daytona International Speedway. I'm your host, Joe Peak. With me in the booth today covering the GS field is Ayrton Ellis. And on our eyes on the ST class is Sean Ambrose. Our cameras have been provided by Dougie Beard and are directed by Kevin Brown. Sean, Daytona's been the opening round of this series since its very first season. Tell our newer viewers a few of the details about this course.
I certainly will. Thank you very much. And it's certainly a beautiful day here in Daytona. Daytona Beach specifically, here in Florida, here in the United States. Place opened up in 1959. They used to run on the beach, now they run on the asphalt, through the infield and on the big oval of Daytona International Speedway. Going to be a great trip around this track today. 3.56 miles is this course, 12 turns, and today we are going 2.5 hours, so it is going to add a little extra degree of difficulty with these driver swaps. But this is a fast course. Drafting is important. You want to run with your buddies, you want to run with your teammates, and you want to even save a little bit of fuel when you're in that draft. So this is a great course, a legendary course. All the greats have run here. The Rolex, the Continental Series, NASCAR is great. Everybody has run here at one time or another, and today isn't going to be any different. We've got some of the real stars of this league here, and we're going to go out there and do it for 2.5 hours, and we'll probably see one or two driver swaps out of each team. Why don't we take a look at this track and take a ride around here with our DSRC car and take a look at the track now.
Alright, we're coming up to the tri-oval portion of Daytona International Speedway, which is going to be the start-finish line, and that's going to lead you right into turn 1, so you want to let the car drift to the right side, and this is going to be one of the trickiest braking zones on the whole course because it's curved, but you also come off of the banking there. Now you'll have this little chicane here, a right then a left, and it's going to take you to the International Horseshoe, and it's going to be heavy braking because this is a slower corner than you would expect. And you want to get a decent exit off of here and then just let it drift back to the right and get yourself ready for the kink, which is turn 4. This kink is a lot easier in the Miatas and the Mustangs. It's fairly tricky, and that's going to dump you right into the braking zone of turn 5, the Western Horseshoe, which could be a passing zone if you get a good enough exit of 3 and you're brave. Now, coming up to turn 6, it seems pretty unassuming. It's a 90-degree left-hander, pretty straightforward, but it's one of the most important corners on this track. You want to get the exit as good as you can. You really need to watch the exit, because if you're slow on this next portion here on the oval, you're basically a sitting duck. If someone gets any hint of the draft, they're either going to catch you or they're just going to blow right by you before you even get to the braking zone of 9, which is the bus stop. As you can see, you just take a line close to the yellow lines there at the bottom. And now getting ready for the bus stop, you're going to want to play chicken with these curbs here. Try and straighten it out as much as you can without getting into the grass. And again, focus on a good exit. If someone outbrakes you into there, don't worry about it too much. Just try and get as good of an exit as you can. And you might get a chance to get them back before you get to turn 1 if you get in their draft. Once again, it's just pretty simple here on out to the start-finish line. You need to keep it down on the yellow and then let it track out as you come out of NASCAR 4 up towards the start-finish line. Hopefully you got somebody's draft helping and pulling you along, and you can try and attempt to pass. But that's a lap around Daytona International Speedway. And you can see exactly what it's going to be like for these Mustangs around this course there with our lap guide as we watch them work their way through qualifying this unique roval with its legendary now banking and whatnot guiding them around. As we let them finish that out, though, Ayrton, let's talk about last season's championship, since we don't have any points to discuss for this race, with it being the season opener. Tell us about our two champions and kind of what they went through real quickly.
Well, it was definitely an exciting season last season. The winner of the GS class at the end of it, though, was Nicholas Bailey. He had actually 0 wins throughout the whole season, but he got 6 top 5s out of the 10 races, so definitely a very consistent driver. This season, he's not racing, though. He's going to be a marshal, so we're going to see a lot of new GS drivers this season, so looking forward to having another good field for the GS class. And then in the ST last season, it was Amjad Yaman who came home. He won 4 races out of the 10 last season and got top 5s in all 10 of the races, so definitely a top driver. He was nearly uncontested. The only other guys who really was fighting with him was James Stevenson and Sergio Mora, so definitely a really good run for him. But this season he switched to the GS class, so in both classes we're not going to have the previous championships in those specified classes. So definitely it's open for a lot of new drivers to come in and some veterans to try to get back at it.
Yeah, so nobody is going to be able to reclaim their crown. It'll be interesting to see who steps up. One in particular that I'm curious about is James Stevenson. He's been champion 3 out of the 5 seasons so far here in Conti, and last season was not going his way with only 1 win to his name. We'll have to see if he can get it back now with driver swaps coming into the mix. The other thing, speaking of which, driver swaps, let's talk about some of the new rules coming in. Obviously, this time they have to have 2 drivers in for their team to get points this time around, and they have to drive at least 45 minutes in the car to get points for the driver. So drivers and teams are scored differently in this race. And the other thing to that as well is drivers are allowed emergency races if they need to drive solo because something happened with their co-driver, and they are allowed 2 of those throughout the season. After that, they will not be scored. They must declare them ahead of time if it's going to be an emergency single driver race, and there are a couple drivers that are going to be doing that this season. We'll go over that in a second. If a driver does happen to go over if one of the drivers does not do the 45-minute time, if they go over an hour and 45 minutes, the drivers also will have that pinged as a single driver race, obviously. The other thing is, Ayrton, we have an extra 30 minutes of time this season in the races.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be a challenge for these guys. Of course, the driver swaps is going to make it interesting to see there's twice as many drivers to keep track of on the track. Not at one time, but when you're racing with one car and then that driver switches with someone else, you have to get used to the different driving style of that driver, and then adding on another half hour definitely makes it more enduring of a race, and these guys have to make more pit stops, and even if a caution comes out, it could really play with people's strategies as well, so it's definitely going to be very interesting.
Yeah, strategy, I think, is going to be a big term out here today, and part of that is because, Sean, of the cautions, which is a feature of this league. Not usually seen on iRacing in road leagues, but this one is, with it mimicking the real-life Conti series, plays a big role, it seems.
Yeah, well, it really does. I mean, there's a lot of time there. Say this track is 3.56 miles around this thing with 12 turns. At pace car speed, that takes a long time to get around here. If you get some damage, you're going to get a chance to get in and get that fixed, and you're going to have time to do it. And they're going to be, the way the Continental Series works here is, they've got to shuffle the field, get everybody back in order before they can start. So you are looking at some lengthy lengthy caution flags here, which will allow you to get a pit stop and get everything fresh and get some repair done if you need it. Starts of these races can be very competitive, very close. Could get some damage here real early in the race, so a caution could, if one is to come out early, it could really benefit you and get you back in this thing. We've got 2.5 hours. You've got plenty of time to get back in this race if you have a little hiccup there at the start, Joe.
And the other difficulty in that, too, is the flip side. If you've built yourself a nice little lead and you're running well, if you hit a caution, they're unlikely to be a lap up on the rest of the field with 2.5 hours. And that is going to mean that it's going to go away quickly. And with this being a draft track, we could see this thing come down to the final lap, depending on when cautions fall and how close guys are driving together. So don't count out those cautions in a number of factors throughout this race. And as well, also the restarts, because that in itself, Sean, is an art.
Yeah, well, it really is, and I'm sure many of these gentlemen here have been practicing those restarts, and they're critical because it's if one guy lays off the pedal and everybody else gets on, then you've got the accordion effect in play, and man, that's never good on the body work, and can put you right back in the very pits that you just came out of if that's the case. So yeah, the restarts are critical, and there is an art to it, and hopefully I don't say hopefully, I'm pretty sure that most of these people here in the field today have that down pretty well, and hopefully we'll keep the repair to a minimum today.
We certainly hope so. And honestly, Ayrton, we've seen in past seasons that the opening races do tend to have some cautions, and that's because of all the rookies, and we've got a number of them this season.
Oh yeah, I think we've had more rookies this season than any other. And that's definitely a fact. People have to get used to other people's driving styles. They don't know who to trust. I mean, a lot of these guys, a lot of the veterans especially, they know how much room to give each other. But with all these new guys coming in, it's really just figuring out how people drive. There can be some really aggressive guys, and then some guys that play it safe. Looks like qualifying is just about over now.
Yeah, it looks like guys are going to be finishing their hot laps out on track. As we said, it's the GS cars, the Mustangs, that are completing. You can see a group of them now, or at least one of them, heading off into the pits on their final lap. And looks like Andy Tuominen and I think that's Amjad Yaman coming across the line just to complete their laps there. And once they start lining up on the grid, we are going to go through the qualifying order. But let's talk about some of the names this season, especially this race in particular, that we need to watch out for. Ayrton and GS, who are the fast guys that the viewers should keep an eye on?
Well, there's definitely a lot of them. We have to mention Amjad Yaman, our previous ST winner. He's going to be partnered with Yeri Yanis, and those guys are both very fast, almost identical in speed, and really consistent drivers as well. The other 49 Motorsports car with Ante Tuominen and JD Baumgartner are also going to be a threat to be reckoned with. And then also, we have Steve Brown, who former champion with Brian Strodbeck, who's an insanely fast driver. But there's plenty of rookies as well. Dave Galink, William Levesque, Mika Eshwi. There's a lot of really fast guys coming in the GS class.
Now, what about the ST side and the MX-5s? Sean, who have you got your eye on?
Well, I've got my eye on this team is Stefan Overgaard and Richard Losper today. They're both traditionally fast. And then you can't forget about James Stevenson. They're in the other Asbury Motorsports car, the number 426. In George Britton, they'll be formidable opponents today. And down in the 49 Motorsports entry, Joao Freitas and John Allen, you got to look out for them in a number 49 today. And we've got just guys all up and down this field that any one of them could, any team can win this race. Can't forget about Dexter Castro in the other 49 Motorsports entry. Him and Chris Hewson. Houston drives a mighty fine line around this joint, and I think we'll have to look out for that team. So Team 49 Motorsports and Asbury Motorsports will probably be ones to look out for today. Alliance Sky Racing, that'll be a strong team today as well to look out for.
So sounds like there's a number of drivers that are in contention today. It's going to be a lot of question marks as we try and figure out who is going to be the major feature as the season progresses. And qualifying is now over, so they are getting ready to grid up, and we're going to be seeing who is going to pop into these cars to start the race. And unfortunately, it sounds like we are having a couple of issues with our technical issues with our graphics there on qualifying. So if you can't see that on your screen, we apologize, but we will continue to read them out verbally once guys get into the car. We're kind of having to, with driver swaps, wait just a little second for people to actually get out there on track so we can tell who is starting before we can feed you that. So as we let those guys finish that up. I'm just looking through my notes here real quick. On the ST fuel, drivers are going to be looking at about 70 to 75 minutes on a fuel tank, and GS are looking at 43 to 50 minutes on a fuel tank, depending on their driving style. So that's going to be really close on there, since they need 45 minutes on the first driver, and that could change or alter their strategy depending on how that plays out and depending on the caution. Something to keep an eye on. Now that I see that a 49 Motorsports car is up, but they are not out on track yet. I'm waiting for that pole sitter to try and get into his car. I'm assuming they will once the pace car at least takes off. Thankfully, it's a decently long lap, so we will be able to read those out in time before it hops out. Now he's into the car, so it looks like we got most of the guys out there on the field. Let's kick off the GS class sitting on pole, and the 49 Motorsports B car, it's Amjad Yaman. Then on the outside of the front row, Todd Honzarenko in the Torque Chicken Racing 1 car starts in second. In the Blackadder Motorsports number 66, it's Louis Sugali starting in third. Then in fourth, Dave Galink starts in the NX Racing machine. Then we have the next 49 Motorsports D machine starting in fifth with Antti Tuominen. In sixth, it's Alliance Sky Racing with Andrew Lawett. And in seventh, it is Turn 2 Motorsports with Steve Brown. Then in eighth, Russell Clayson starts the race in the V Apex Racing group. Ninth is Team KLM Racing with Kevin C. Ford. And 10th is Dmitry Jukanovic, and the JCI Sim Racing 1 Ford Mustang, Ayrton.
And then in the team called Gabby in 11th, it's run by Daniel Alencar. Bad Cactus Racing, the white team, will start in 12th place with Jason Poisson starting. In the Blackadder Motorsports number 67 car, it will be Stefan Spantig starting. And then in 14th place is going to be the Bad Cactus Racing green team with Anthony Woodward. In 15th is the New World Sim Sport team run by Randolph Chenoth. And then in the 16th place is Klansman Racing with Phil Schroeder. In 17th place, NRG Racing number 15 car with Stephen Phillips. And then 18th is the Bombshell E3 Motorsports team with Andrew Mike starting the field. And then in 19th is Men in Blue Racing with Richie Bryan starting. And then BS Racing is in 20th place with Scott Brooks starting the field. Exporter Motorsports is going to start in 21st with Mackenzie Corrance. Klansman Racing in 22nd with James Alex Brown. Then IFCARacing.com team starting in 23rd with Brian Corwin. And then to finish off the GS field is Noah Nevy in the Sim Race Drivers team in 24th place.
And just a quick correction, the Klansman Racing, Phil Schrader is actually that one. I know Phil has been with us before about getting his name right, so apologies on that, Phil. Meanwhile, starting off the ST field, which we have gotten into now. In first, it is Asbury Motorsports number 426, George Britton kicking them off. Then behind them, their ever rivals, 49 Motorsports A, John D. Allen starts that car. In third, JCL Sim Racing 2 MX5 is going to be started by Alexander Shodron. Then in fourth, Benjamin Lanowet is going to start the 49 Motorsports C MX5. Team Potato BE is going to start in fifth with Dries Nyes. Then it's Asbury Motorsports number 14 with Richard Losper in sixth. Seventh is Phoenix Racing, Anthony Celentano. BWR Racing starts in eighth with Matthew Reinhold. Ninth is Rincon Racing with Jose Ariaza. And then 10th is Alliance Sky Racing with Guilherme Busato.
In the other Team Potato entry, we've got Ben Callow. In the other 49's Motorsports E entry, we have Chris Hewson. Watch out for him today. In the TrackJunkies.org machine, we have Michael J. Schaefer. The Auger Racing Team entry, Stefan Morien. The RW Team, Leandro Schmidt. 4X Racing Team, Mark Figueres. United Sports Car Sim Racing, Hayden Burns. Crystal Racing, Dick A. Lee. Torque Chicken Racing 2 entry, David Wammond. Closing out the field.
And with that, the field is now 2x2 out of the bus stop. At least the Mustangs are. They are going to take the checkered flag for Season 6 here in any moment as the pace car gets ready to peel off. Let's get ready to go racing here for the 2015 season of the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series. There goes the pace car. Jed Yaman is leading the way on the pole, waiting for the green flag. There's the green. He accelerates away. He's got Todd Honzarenko on his outside. Let's see how they head into turn 1 here. Oh, and we already have some contact as 2 cars close together. That is Russell Clayson there coming together with Kevin C. for just a moment as they work their way through the slow turn 1, but it looks very good and very clean otherwise. Let's jump back to the ST field.
ST's getting ready to come, getting ready to come across the line here.
And there's the green flag. The stewards have them the green, and then we've got a little bit of a check out back there, but George Britton in that pink MX-5 is leading the way. It looks like that checkup has caused quite a gap between the front and the back of the field there. We're seeing a bit of 3-wide action already in the back of the pack as guys are trying to slot through, and some contact between Stefan Morien and Jose Ariaza, but otherwise it looks like everybody has made it through without incident.
Yeah, just about. Richard Losper in the Asbury Motorsports machine had a close call there. His car was out of shape and he was almost off the track, but managed to collect it up and is still fighting for position right here as they head into the bend now.
And looking up front, I see John D. Allen is already under threat for second place from Alexander Chodron, and Chodron moves into second place up into the Western Horseshoe, but he overshoots it ever so slightly. Allen tries to pull the over-under. Exciting racing already on lap 1. These guys have a long way to go, but it looks like Chodron is going to be able to take that spot back and make it stick with a second place claimed. Meanwhile, behind him, a bit of a bee's nest as Allen is now under threat from Dries Nyes as well as Benjamin Lanouette, excuse me.
Real battle going on back here right now between John Allen. John Allen is having a real good battle here with Knees, and we've got Allen and Richard Losper up there in front of them. So nice tight racing going on right now. Everybody is looking really fast here as we head through the bus stop right now.
Knees was looking on the inside there, but he thought better of it, and they got single file through the bus stop as they would probably want to do. Meanwhile, behind them, Richard Losper looks like he's got Anthony Celentano in the Phoenix Racing machine trying to look for a way to get around him. All these guys are very close, but way up front, it is George Britton who is already starting to extend a lead and break the draft. That is going to be critical.
Yeah, George is just out there, as we see him come across the line here, George is just out there by himself right now, letting these guys fight back there, and as he makes his way into one here, he's found the fast way around this track right now and seems to be really dialed in the early stages of this race, Joe.
Well, as these guys try and duke it out here up at the top of the ST field, let's jump over to the GS guys. Ayrton, what's been going on over there?
Well, Amjad Yaman's still leading the way, but Todd Honzarenko has not made it easy for him. He's already been trying to make a couple pass attempts, especially into turn 1. He got side by side of him going into it, but he backed off. So a lot of pressure there. Right behind them is the NX Racing driver, David Glink, known to be very fast in the Mustang, but right ahead, Todd Honzarenko going on the inside of Amjad Yaman as they head into the bus stop. Amjad Yaman breaks early, lets him get the position. So Honzarenko heading into the lead for Torque Chicken Racing.
We often call Amjad the doctor for his strategic racing, and I think we saw just a bit of that there as he backed out of it, knowing that still only lap 2 of the race here. And Honzarenko obviously not willing to wait around. That Torque Chicken machine is looking really good, Ayrton.
Oh yeah, definitely, and he's going to be a fast driver, his teammate as well. I forget who that is. I'll get back to you on that.
It's okay.
Jeff Jacobs.
Jeff Jacobs, that's right. Well, Amjad is not yet done with having to battle because it looks like the NX Racing machine is coming up on the outside down into turn 1. It's going to be a hard ask to try and outbrake him into there. That purple and black machine is just dropping back a little bit. No, he's starting to gain ground and braking, but as they hit the apex, it looks like Amjad has got it.
It's really hard to pass on the outside into that corner, especially in the Mustang. So he actually lost a little bit of speed, allowed Louis Kigali in the Blackadder Motorsports car to catch up. But right behind him, there's a battle going on. Actually, Andrew Lauette actually gets spun around by Antti Tuominen, and they hit into Steve Brown and Russell Clayson. Those are some top drivers getting taken out early.
And we've got a caution let's see if we can get a replay of that. I didn't quite see it happening. Looks like we're pulling it up now, and that was Antti Tuominen going on the inside of Andrew Laurette, it looks like. We're seeing it now heading into the International Horseshoe. Just snuck it in there with that yellow, white, and blue machine on the outside of Andrew and started to lose it. Just tipped Tuominen, who went into Russell Clayson, took a hard hit into the wall. And last season's one of last season's race winners, Steve Brown, also very, very hard into the wall with a smoking machine. Now, he is going to be able to get that repaired while Antti Tuominen backs into the front end of Cannonball Clayson there for a moment, adding insult to injury. But yellow flag is out, so the cars are now slowed down, and they are going to get picked up by the pace car once they get back to the start-finish line here.
Man, and that was some battle back here in the MX-5s here in the ST class. Alexander Chaudron was really, really close to putting a move here on our leader. We had said he was breaking away, and then all of a sudden George Britton started getting a little hot around the collar here as he had Alexander on his tail, hot on his tail, and had that caution flag not come out, I think he'd have got him into turn 3.
So it's looking like we're going to have a hard time figuring out where to put our focus of both classes, having a lot of good fighting already at just a couple laps into this race. I'm curious about your thoughts on that accident there, Ayrton, because it looked like a racing deal to me. It looked like Andrew just kind of lost it, and it was just sort of unfortunate that with everybody around, there was no place to go.
Yeah, it was definitely a racing incident. He just powered a little too hard out of the corner. There wasn't even any contact between him and Tuominen, so it was just some side-by-side racing, and then he got loose, and unfortunately it took out 3 drivers.
Well, since we had some shuffling with all the draft and battling early on, let's go through our top 10 in each real quick. Honzarenko is leading the way in the GS class. Amjad Yaman is in second. William Levesque sits in third. Louis Segali is in fourth. Then it's Kevin C. Ford in fifth in the GS class. Daniel Alencar in sixth. John Hall in seventh. Jason Poisson in eighth. Elliot Mimi in ninth. And Andrew Mick in 10th. What are the top 10 in ST looking like?
Yeah, we've got George Britton in first, still leading the way there. Just behind him, Alexander Chaudron. Benjamin Lanouette, third. Team Potato, Dries Nyes in fourth. Richard Losper in fifth. Team Potato, Ben Callow in sixth. Phoenix Racing Machine in seventh, Anthony Celentano. Eighth, John Allen. In ninth, Guillermo Lucas Busato. In 10th, Andrew Schmidt.
So there's our top 10 in each class after we got things shuffled up just a little bit there, but the pace car you can see is being Honzarenko down the backstretch up through there. Now, it's obviously going to be a little bit early for anybody to make any sort of driver swap or pit stops, but I'm kind of wondering, Sean, if we might see some of these back markers maybe try to top up.
Well, I'm watching that. I haven't seen anybody duck in yet, but boy, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do that right now when you can get 70 to 75 minutes out of these machines. It's not a bad call to do that right now. Could literally get through the rest of this race at this point right now with still just one stop.
Yeah, we've made just shy of 10 minutes into this race, so they haven't done a whole lot. But, if you can make just that little bit of fuel mileage or have to top up that little bit less later on, that could mean the difference between 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 positions. It all depends on how pit stops play. I think the pits should be open this time by, so we'll stop and see, as you can see the whole field, or the GS field at least, now slowly working their way past. Anybody gonna... Ooh, we see a couple feints from some cars, and it looks like at least one person is in fact going to work their way in and try to see who that is. That is
Andrew Laurette.
Laurette, yeah, though he was involved in the accident, so he's probably going to get some stuff repaired. Meanwhile, I see the ST cars are just starting to catch up on the tail of the field.
Yeah, I don't see any takers yet. We're looking here. Well, looks like everybody's gonna be content to stay out, guys.
You can see down the pit lane, that's Antti Tuominen there getting repairs done after he took some pretty hard hits into other cars and into the barrier coming out of that International Horseshoe incident earlier. Obviously, I think that's Russell Clayson, it looks like, Ayrton. We've got one MX-5 in that we just saw pop in there. Did you see who that was, Sean?
I'm going back to it now, trying to pick him up now.
We're hearing that it is Hayden Burns. And where did Hayden qualify?
Hayden qualified in last place, so not sure right now.
Nothing to lose, basically. That doesn't surprise me.
Nothing to lose by being in there. I don't see any damage on the car, so looks like he's just getting some fuel here at this point, topping off. No tires.
Sounds exactly like what we were thinking. And speaking of the tires, I'm curious how that's going to play out. I know we haven't had a lot of time to really see how these cars are going to be handling. I understand that Daytona really doesn't play quite as much on each car.
No, I mean, you spend just as much time out on the open oval here as you do in the infield. Not a real tire eater. I think with the windows that we have here, I think you'll be fine. If you're going to come in to get a full tank, you might as well get 4 tires anyway. The MX-5 being a little bit lighter machine, I think you're going to be able to get a lot more wear out of those tires. I think they'll be able to go ahead and go the full stint on those tires, the window there. So tires won't come into play here like it would on most of the courses that we run.
And Ayrton, I'm not sure if you have an idea of what these drivers are going to be watching out for, worrying about in the Mustangs. But I mean, what do you think is going to be on their mind when it comes to tires?
Well, the Mustang definitely uses up its tires more than the MX-5, so these guys come in for pit stops. I mean, because they have to pit more often, because they can go not as long as the MX-5s on a full tank. They'll probably take tires most times when they pit, so that'll probably be a simple factor for them. I just wanted to mention before we go green, one driver that we probably should keep an eye on, Randolph Chenoth in the New World Sim sports car. He started 15th, which wasn't a great qualifying for him, but he's already up to 7th. So he's definitely going to be a top contender.
Wow, lots of positions gained there, and you are correct. The lights are off on the pace car, so we should be going green this time by, if I'm not mistaken. And also, I can't remember if you had mentioned it, but Clayson has retired, we think, unless he is just waiting for his car to get repaired, because he's going to take a while for that. Let's see if the pace car peels off. There he goes. Todd Honzarenko is going to lead the way with Yaman close behind in second and Dave Galinkin third. Green flag waves as Honzarenko accelerates through the trioval and across the checkered line. Heading down into turn 1, let's see how everybody handles it. Look at the pack towards the back. So many guys getting checked up. People trying to gain positions. Everybody's being really patient though, not seeing any car contact. Meanwhile, I'm hopping back to the ST class, Sean, and it's looking pretty much the same, mostly single file for the top guys. And boy, it's just a mess back behind that.
Yeah, well, it was a nice start though. Nobody really checked up or anything. It was a nice start. They all broke away pretty clean, but it didn't take them long to get side by side here behind these 4 that have broken away here. But Richard Losberg, I noticed he got a Mustang in the grass off the course.
And we're hearing that's Richie Bryan, I believe. I'm trying to get back to it. Yeah, that's Richie Bryan. I'm not sure what happened to him. Let me see. It looks like I'm not seeing. Oh, he was having some serious blinking. Oh, he might have some connection problems. So I think he's trying to get out of everybody's way. He's back going now. So unusual stop, but that does happen sometimes in sim racing.
Well, hey, and good on him for getting out of the way and knowing that he had a problem. Oh no, we've got trouble here. Getting onto the oval.
Driver?
Yeah, we got 2 cars. I'm going back to it here now, guys. Sorry.
As we try and find that and see what exactly happened there.
It was the Team Potato there.
Dries Nyes, it looks like, had some problems. and that was heading into turn 6. Oh, and that was actually kicked off just ahead of him. That was Alexander Chaudron again getting into trouble. We're looking at the replay now. He's started to, it looks like he may have had just slight car contact with Benjamin Lanouette heading into 6, and poor Dries Nys had nowhere to go. Cars were scattering, trying to get around them. And it looks like Nys got the worst of the damage as his car is slightly crabbing. We're looking at that replay now.
Yeah, and Dries got into that car there. He's got some pretty good damage on the front end because of that now, Joe.
So what I think Alexander Chaudron in the GCL Sim Racing 2 MX-5 is going to hope that his is minimal, since I think he might have got clipped in the side, actually. And that's suspension damage if you get hit there usually. So he's got to really hope that he is okay. Looks like he's holding on fine, though. Meanwhile, we are looking at Amjad Yaman, who's holding on to the rear spoiler of Todd Honzarenko's Torque Chicken machine. So those top guys with Dave Galink close behind are all still holding very close to one another, now heading back onto the oval portion, Ayrton.
Yeah, there's actually been, in the GS, a little battle between Daniel Alencar and Randolph Chenov. Those guys have been side by side since the restart, trying to battle for that 6th place position. So I think Chenov is really just trying to get up the field at this point.
Yeah, Alencar and that plain white machine. I guess he didn't get any sponsors or paints together before the race was on, but you can see Chenov and the blue, white, and black machine just behind him as Chenov looks to the inside now into the braking zone of the bus stop, and it looks like he's going to have it done just barely. Only a paper's width between the cars, but he slides in time and into line in time, and just a little bit of contact coming out of the bus stop from Daniel Alencar, but it looks like he's lost some momentum, so he's going to have to duck back down and try and get that draft.
That was a really good move by Chenov. Just by a hair he got in there.
Yeah, extremely close, and Chenov is usually one of the fast drivers, so it doesn't surprise me that he has the confidence to pull a move like that, but I hope he's driven against Daniel recently, because you really have to trust the other driver that he knows what he's doing. Meanwhile, Daniel is looking up around the outside into turn 1, but he's not quite close enough to make it happen, and I don't think he's going to get the over-under. Meanwhile, just behind him, Anthony Woodward also looking to get a nose, and in fact he does, and it's not unfortunately going to give him the outside line into the International Horseshoe.
It's always hard to get it past there.
It's very hard to get it past there. He tried switching inside at the last moment, but he was a little too far back for that one.
Yeah, with all this battling, this group has kind of lost touch of the front group. Kevin Ford is about a second and a half ahead of these guys, and he's right on the tail end of the top 4 at this point, so they have some work to do to catch back up.
So they've got a lot of race to do it still. Things can play out in your favor. And you know, that's one thing that I'm curious about. Do you think some of these guys maybe will save tires early on in a stint to hope that they can maybe make a charge later, Ayrton?
I think it can definitely be a strategy. Some guys might just not use tires, not put on tires during a pit stop in order to gain more positions through that stop. I mean, on the Mustang, you can really lose a lot of time if you have old tires. So I don't know. We'll see.
We've switched over to the ST field as Lanouette and Bizzato are having a nice little battle. They're heading down into turn 6. Lanouette on the outside in the 49 machine doesn't quite have that position, as Bizzato is going to have the run onto the oval.
Yeah, and Bizzato's been working that for just about a full lap now. Finally gets around Lanouette. What a move by Bizzato coming there on the oval. Nice little battle going on between those two. They have been really jockeying back and forth, and even doing a little bit of fender rubbing on those MX-5s. But George Britton is the class of the field right now. He has broken away again, and you know, the only place they're really picking up any speed on him is in the straights here with a little bit of drafting help. But he seems to just have the right line right now and seems to be hitting his marks well.
Oh, and we've got an accident unfolding.
Oh, and there they go. Yep, Lanouette and Bizzato go around, and the yellow flag is out, guys.
I wondered about that. We had 2 cars too deep, trying to go too wide through through the bus stop there, and that was kicked off by those two that we were watching there up in front of them between Bizzato and Lanawet. It looked like it was going to be a clean pass, but Bizzato was not giving up, just held onto the inside. Lanawet cars got turned. Unfortunately, I think that was that Richard Losper just behind them. They got caught up in it as well. It was not,
No,
excuse me.
That wasn't Richard.
We're hearing that was Matthew Reinhold behind him, excuse me.
Yeah, it was Matthew Ronald got caught up in that and got some front end damage out of that as well. So that's going to hurt.
This is pretty much what we were talking about. We're now 20 minutes into this race. We've hit our second caution. We saw some races go with 1 or 2 cautions for the whole race last year with 2-hour races, and some with 0. We're looking on the inside on the replay, riding on board with Reinhold. Just could not avoid that accident, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. He just, again, had nowhere to go, and he gets in the rear end of Bizzato and then hits Lanawet. So he got both of the guys that started the wreck there, unfortunately. And, yeah, that's just an inopportune yellow right there. But they're going to have time to get in here and get some repair work done. They should be okay to get back into this thing.
Well, we are going to go to a quick break while this yellow works itself out. We'll come back for the green, and we'll continue racing here in the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series. Stick around. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. After just about shy of 30 minutes into round one of the 2015 season, the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, we are on our second caution, or is it our third caution, actually? I already can't remember. But we do have one of, unfortunately, our first caution's victims ready to talk to us, and that is Brian Corwin. And Brian, unfortunately, it looked like you were just kind of an innocent victim in that first incident.
Yeah, it was one of those interesting things where we were just coming around the Western Horseshoe. I had a couple cars in front of me, so I was just kind of minding my own business going through the track there. And then before long, a car comes out of my left blind side and smacks right into us. Tried to get back on the road. It was driving all right for what it was, but by the time we got back to the oval, I wouldn't even turn in, so we had to take a tow, unfortunately.
We're sad to see that you're out so early in your first in the first race for the IFCAR team. Are you guys going to be back for Sebring in a couple weeks?
Well, Sebring's going to be a question of course. We have a couple drivers here that are having trouble with the times and the commitment because of work schedules and family life. I just want to say hi to my family at home, doing the whole Scott Pruitt thing. But yeah, we don't know yet. It's going to be hard to say. It depends if we can get Brian Bennett or Alfred Shepard involved and see if they're interested in running.
Well, we wish you better luck on the next race. It's always sad to see a driver out before they've even had more than 10 minutes in the car, especially in a series as competitive as this. So, good luck, and we'll hope to see you at Sebring.
Thank you, Jeff.
We have about a half a lap, so we're going to do one more. That is Steve Brown. And Ayrton, would you like to talk to Steve?
Yeah, sure. Steve, you here?
Yeah.
So, an unfortunate incident. What was going through your mind as that was happening?
My first thought was that the track was going to be clear by the time I got there, but then it looked like whoever got loose there clipped Ante, and they both came across the track.
It was definitely a shame to get taken out too early, and I'm guessing you're not waiting for repairs to get back on track anytime soon. So does that mean you're going to be looking to the next race then? How do you think you're going to fare out there?
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing. The motor's toast, so we're not getting back out there. It sucks for Brian. He doesn't even get to turn a lap. Don't score any points for the team. I'm pretty sure I don't score any points as a driver. So we'll look forward to Sebring.
Do any of you guys have anything to ask him?
Yeah, Sean, Joe Peak here. It's there have been a lot of question marks coming into this season, with this being a lot of new format stuff. What were your impressions in your brief time out on the track and in practice and quali?
It seemed like it was going to be a good race. Clearly, through the first portion here, it hasn't. It's just been a caution fest. But everybody was excited about it. It's a new thing with team racing, and everybody seemed to be happy about it and playing nice. But and really, we should have just been sitting there, waiting, biding our time. All the first drivers, we don't have to race for anything. We just got to bring it back. And somebody decided they didn't want to do that.
I understand that feeling completely. Well, also, as we said to Brian, commiserations to you and your team, and hopefully turn 2 will be back for Sebring.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you then.
So we've got the pace car in NASCAR 4 now, and we are getting ready to go green, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking to see if there's lights on the pace car. The lights are on, so we still have one more lap to go, actually. And then these guys will be working out. And that's an interesting point, Sean, that he made about just bringing it home. And I was kind of thinking about that as after that that last incident unfolded in the bus stop, if I was Reinhold or some of these cars behind, I feel like as soon as I saw them going too wide in there, I would have just kind of backed off and given them some space.
Well, it is a long race, right? And we would hope that patience and would take control there, but obviously it didn't. So we got to re-rack and start things again here. But we'll get through this cycle here and go back to green flag racing. Still a lot of racing left to do. We certainly know from experience that an early mistake, when you stay with it and stay in it, can lead to good fortune at the end. So I think everybody here that's still on the track right now has a really good chance in this thing.
And speaking of, having a chance and being back out on track, one of the drivers that got the wave around that went back out there is Antti Tuominen, who got tipped by, I'm trying to remember who it was exactly, the Mustang that ran into him in the International Horseshoe there. Lorette, thank you, who got tipped by Lorette. He got his car repaired. He's back out there. I think he should be on the lead lap now. So I think that's an excellent point that Sean made about just trying to stick with it. It's an even longer race. It's now an hour longer than the very first season that they had in these races, which were about 90 minutes long. So there's a lot to play for. There's points all season long, and we saw last season, Ayrton, that every little point is going to count. So you really just can't give up.
Yeah, definitely. And as we were talking about with, as Steve was saying, how Brian didn't get any driving time, and I'm kind of just thinking how these guys choose who starts the races, because there's this strategy where you can try to put, if the drivers aren't identical in speed or consistency, you can put the faster driver on the start to gain as much positions, or you can choose to put the more consistent driver to try to get that car, as Steve said, bring it home and give the faster guy the chance to actually battle it out for position. So I'm kind of interested, maybe we can have some interviews after the race about why did certain teams start their respective drivers.
That is a very good question, and I was thinking about that as it looks like we should be going green this time. Double checking here. Yep, lights are off, so we've got about a half a lap to go here. But one thing I thought about is with the cautions, especially early in the season, them being likely towards the end of the race, do you put your fast guy in just to make sure that you can run away in a case like that?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting factor, but you can also have your fast guy to a lot of positions at the start and try to break a good lead if you hope that you don't have any cautions, unlike today. These guys have really just been bunched up so far.
Exactly. So as the GS field works its way through the bus stop now into NASCAR 3, we've switched over to the ST field, looking at that looks like Richard Losper. No, that's not Richard. That's Leandro Schmidt's car, actually. The RW Team Machine MX-5 is sitting behind Richard Losper, actually, in the Asbury Motorsports Flying Smurf machine. He's going to hand it over to the Flying Smurf himself, Stefan Oergaard, a little bit later. So those guys are getting ready to take off, just putting a little bit of break between themselves and the Mustangs so that they don't run into them. But the Mustangs are coming up to the pit entry now, so the pace car is going to duck off and away. There he goes. Todd Honzarenko is sitting in the first position. Amjad Yaman is in second, and Dave Galink is still in third as Honzarenko gets a great jump at the green flag, Ayrton.
Yeah, Amjad was sleeping a little bit, so he's going to fall back. He actually has a huge pack behind him. Some of them already going side by side. Daniel Alencar and Rudolph are side by side going through turn one. A lot of action so far. No one's had contact at all, so clean start for these guys.
Meanwhile, back in the ST field, George Britton leads them away. He's followed closely by Ben Callow. We haven't seen him up front yet today, and Richard Losper sitting in third. That's looking a lot more single file, though.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly the way they started. Single file. Everybody getting in line here. I think they're just doing their best to keep the car on the track right now, and they've been the benefactors of two early cautions. With not much action back here, they've been able to save fuel and can stay out now just about as long as they want, as long as we've got a green flag run here. So, Losper coming from way back in the field up to third now. Britton doesn't seem to be able to pull away quite like he had previously. So, definitely a good battle to watch here.
Yeah, Callow and the Team Potato Machine is doing quite a good job up there, holding on to the back of that pink and purple AMS machine. So he is giving him a run for his money. You can see Callow there and the red MX-5. So with those guys, I'm noticing that things are not quite as chaotic. We saw a lot of 2 and 3 wide throughout much of the pack in both fields on the previous restarts. Now on our third start, basically, guys seem a little bit more patient. I think maybe they're learning their lesson, Sean.
Yeah, I think so. And, right now I'm watching Matthew Reinl, and looks like he's moving backwards, guys. That little bit of damage he's got, I think, has got the car off pace right now, unfortunately, because, everybody, as we see him go through the horseshoe now, looks to be just a bit off pace right now, as they're going to make a move around him right here, going back on the high banks.
Yeah, that car definitely looks down on power. Just look at Alexander Chaudron blow past him on the outside. Didn't even need the draft to try and get away. So it's going to be a long day of racing for Reinhold and the BWR Racing team, as he is just going to be dropping positions on the oval portion all day long, I think. Meanwhile, we've got a battle here in the GS field between Galink and Yaman. Galink holding the inside through the International Horseshoe. Now they're going to look to go side by side through the kink.
Yeah, Galink actually was on the outside for turn 1. He's going to get it inside again for the second hairpin. Going to get past Amjad, but he made an excellent move. He got run on the outside going to turn 1, was able to hold it on the outside, and got on the inside for the International Horseshoe. So great driving from Dave Galink for NX Racing.
This is allowing Hans Zarenko to put just a bit of a gap between himself and the second place Galink. In the meantime, with his battling, is allowing Louis Sigali to close up on the back of him. Sigali in the Blackadder Motorsports number 66. Red, white, and black machine. You can see there trailing the 49 Motorsports pink Mustang. He's going to get the draft heading around NASCAR 2 onto the backstretch. I don't think he's going to be close enough to try anything, but he's definitely going to be in contention once he comes out of the bus stop.
Well, hey, listen, guys, the battle is on back here in ST. We see Ben Callow made a move on the last lap, going across the start-finish line, gets around Britain, and Richard Losper is still sitting in third, but we have a new leader in ST, and that's Ben Callow. He is charged to the front, and as they go through NASCAR 3 and off the high banks here, we're looking at a really, really good battle, as it seems like Britain's lost a little bit of pace right now, but he is now coming up in the draft here as they head to the horseshoe, and anything can happen here in the horseshoe. Let's watch them get through, guys.
That's actually the bus stop.
Bus stop. I'm sorry, guys. I'm saying horseshoe. Yeah, through the bus stop there. But hey, a really nice line for the bus stop for all three of them there, as they seem to be breaking away from the rest of this field now. And it looks like Britain is going to try and get this position back, guys. Here, going to the middle groove here, going through NASCAR 3 and 4, and right now, Callow is holding him off there on that bottom line, and Richard Losper has a front row ticket to the action there, as it looks like he's trying to choose which partner he wants to run with here right now, as he sets both of them up going across the start-finish line here, Joe.
And keep in mind that Losper is teammates with that car ahead of George Britton. That's both AMS cars, and it looks like Britton is going to just allow him by, knowing that it's early on. I bet there might have been getting on the radio there saying it's not worth fighting this, with Callow going very wide off into the grass, and it looks like Losper is going to get a chance at the lead. He moves into first for the AMS Motorsports machine. We've got 2 changes for the lead in 2 laps.
Yeah, boy, what a move by Losper. But, you know, really that started with Callow getting off the track there, right, and just kind of, well, he got completely off the track into the grass, all 4 wheels in the grass. So obviously had a little bit of trouble there with the car getting through. But now Losper is in the lead, and, you know, our former leader, George Britton, hot on his tail.
And I think that goes back to what we've been saying before. It's a long race to go. Patience is going to pay off, and it certainly did for Losper, because it looked to me like he was backing off a little bit coming up to the start-finish line as these guys were duking it out. So I think that worked out very well in his favor. Now, interestingly, we're getting some comments saying that Hans Zarenko may have jumped the start, and we're not sure if there is a penalty for that or not. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how that develops. So our order in the ST class: Richard Losper is leading in the AMS Motorsports number 14. George Britton is in second in the Asbury Motorsports number 426. And we've got a battle on screen between Galink and Amjad Yaman. Once again, Yaman trying to move himself back into that second position, but he backs out before they get to turn 1.
Actually, I think Yaman was trying to push Galink. He could have easily went to the outside. He had a great run, but decided against it. So I think he's aiming to try to catch up to that Torque Chicken racing car that Hans Zarenko is driving.
Sugali takes a little bit of a peek on the inside of Yaman. Yaman takes a look on the inside of Galink. Everybody trying to see what they can squeeze in there. Nobody making wild dives, though. But look at the great exit from Amjad Yaman as he closes up on the rear spoiler of Galink's car. Could he look to the inside? He takes a peek, but he goes back into line, knowing that he's probably better served on the oval. Oh, and Galink goes very wide there, Eric.
Yeah, a little weak exit right there, but these guys are probably going to stick together. At the moment, Honzarenko, he's been keeping a lead pretty well. The 2 laps ago, he actually was half second faster, really extend that lead. That was when the guys behind in second place were battling. These guys, they've still lost a little bit of time to him as well, so Honzarenko doing a great job at leading so far.
Yep, right now, currently seeing the gap at 1.4 seconds between Honzarenko and... Is that correct? No, that's not Levesque in that car. That's Galink. Excuse me. Timing and scoring is telling me some lies. We're on board Sugali, who looks to the inside, coming up to the bus stop, but it looks like Amjad Yaman shuts the door, and they're going to go single file through there. Yaman's going to have to focus on the exit, try and get himself back up onto the rear of Galink's NX racing machine. As we sit on the roll bar of Sugali around the banking, you can just get a sense of the speed. And let's see what that draft is going to do for him. He's got 2 cars punching a big old hole in the air. And just ahead of him, I can see from my screen, you can on yours, that Amjad Yaman is really closing up on the back with the draft. And I think it looks like Sugali is just going to hang back a little bit as now they break for turn 1.
Yeah, these guys actually lost 0.2 of a second to Honzarenko in the lead that previous lap, so Honzarenko's running away. A little bit by that.
I'm seeing it's come down to about a second. It was at 1.2, and we've got another caution. I didn't see who caused this one, though.
Oh, it's in turn 1. That's Kevin Ford. Let me check what happened. He spun around and hit the inside wall and blocked the track.
So it sounds like a single car incident, and oh, his car is smoking. We're going to look at the replay there. And here's Kevin C. Ford. Yeah, back just came around. And he had a car off track, so it might have been that he just got rattled there. And I know that can happen to me. If you see a car off track, you just lose focus.
And then James Alex ramped into him afterwards, so that put a big dent in his front bumper.
Yeah, we're watching that replay from above again, from the blimp, it looks like. Just actually was getting by another car into the braking zone, going around the outside. It was an excellent move, and just went too deep into there. Probably got a little bit unsighted by that car and got smacked in the back there. Oh, and there come. Oh, another hit. There's the hit you mentioned from James Brown.
Now, this caution, I think almost all the GS field is going to be going into the pits.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I'm trying to get a glance at our timer here. Looks like, yeah, we're just about at the 45-minute mark, so that is going to work perfectly. Fortunately, not perfectly for James Brown, who we're seeing, who's going to make hot popcorn out of this wrecked car here. And apparently our director did not get my James Brown reference of the singer. Now we go back live with Dave Galink. Poor Kevin C. Ford's car is smoking very badly. He's trying to limp that thing back to the pits. He's going to have a lot of repair time. And I think you're right, Ayrton. I think we're going to see a lot of guys jump in and get their driver swaps done now. And I don't think fuel is going to be an issue this time.
Yeah, there's a good chance for some drivers to gain some spots if they can get into their pit stall really quickly and get back out.
So let's let drivers work their way through the pits and get driver swaps done, as well as wave arounds work through. Let's take a short break. We'll be back after a moment. Welcome back. We just had our green flag restart. We apologize. We have some technical problems, so we have a picture-in-picture, but we are going to continue to bring you commentary while we try to work some things out. We had 3 wide on the ST restart and almost some contact coming through the International Horseshoe.
There's actually some contact, and sorry, there's a contact in the GS field between Amjad Yaman and Andrew Mick. Might have damaged his suspension a little bit in the second hairpin.
And it looks like Mick is also getting passed by Louis Sugali, who moves on by him, and he's going to lose another position to Daniel Alencar in the Gabi machine. Oof, and he slots back in a line with almost no space between those cars. But let's jump back to that ST field, because, man, there was some crazy dicing going on for the lead there.
Yeah, well, real interesting start there to the race. I mean, 3 wide going across the start-finish line for the restart. Everybody bunching up, going down into 1, and, now they're all here getting ready to come down the backstretch now and head to the bus stop. But, man, they are just all fighting so hard for position here, and we still have, a long time to go in this race now. So, what you do have right now is a bunch of guys that came in and pitted, did driver swaps. We've got fresh drivers in the car here at the back of the field trying to get back up to front where those cars were at before the caution came out.
And it was John D. Allen who came out front of everybody in that ST field, driving in the 49 Motorsports machine. Just behind him in second, it's Leandro Schmidt in the RW team. And trying to get that away from him is Alexandre Chaudron in the GCL Sim Racing 2 MX-5, who is looking on the outside coming down to turn 1, but he's not quite close enough, so he backs out of it before they come across the line.
Yeah, and the Torque Chicken machine, I'm not really sure what's going on with that right now, but they are off pace. The number 55 there, Robert Warner, seems to be just letting everybody go by right now. That Hot Wheels machine is having a little bit of trouble right now with the handling.
What's interesting is just in front of him is James Stevenson, who has hopped into that car, taken over from George Britton of the Asbury Motorsports, and he's slicing through the field as he's coming up through there in the International Horseshoe. I think he took 2 or 3 positions in that corner alone. That was an incredibly brave move, but I think we've come to expect nothing less from Stevenson.
You know who else is coming up through the field just behind them? Stefan Overgaard in that Asbury Motorsports number 14 there, taking over from Richard Losborough, who had gotten that thing up to the lead, and he's watching this action in front of him right now. Side-by-side racing, a little bit of contact there at the 09, the 55 there, but it's going to be interesting here to see what happens as this pack gets back up on the oval here to head into the high banks. It will be interesting to see where these positions end up on the other side.
Yeah, Overgaard's going to have to be very careful. He's got Travis Schwanke and Robert Warner just in front of him, battling very hard. They've worked so hard to get this far into the race. I'm thinking, at this point, with these guys going back and forth, just be careful about who you are battling with, and he's not going to be careful as we ride on board with Stefan Morian watching this battle unfold. Is he going to try and take it into the bus stop on a restart? He is going to try and go too wide through there. This is going to cost them a lot of speed on the exit. They managed to do it safely, incredibly, as Robert Warner doesn't touch anything along with Stefan Overgaard, but now this allows the car that we're riding along with, Stefan Morian, to really close in and pass by, pick up a spot.
Yeah, and it helped out Overgaard too. Overgaard's leading that pack, but Stefan making a move on the outside here, trying to get around Overgaard. That's going to be tough to do, as we know Overgaard doesn't give up the ghost easy.
He is definitely a hard fighter, that Danish driver in that blue and white machine. He's got the inside heading towards turn 1. Should be able to outbrake him. At this point, they're going to not want to battle too hard, and it looks like he's going to give up the ghost, but Andy Morgan's looking on the inside now as he's trying to work his way past Stefan Morian, and he might be able to do it as they're side by side coming out of turn 1 through the chicane. He's going to have the outside coming into the International Horseshoe. Is he going to be able to outbrake him? Just has it, but it looks like Morian just sticks the nose and almost touches, but they come out clean as they head towards the kink.
Man, what a battle. I mean, we're talking about this is 11th and 10th place right now. There's still a long way to go up to the front of this division.
Still 90 minutes left in the race, yeah, but just ahead of him, Stevenson is making a lot better progress up in front, trying to get by Jose Arriaza, now into turn 6, and he's going to try and pull the over-under, get a better exit. Looks like he just might have. He's going to have the draft regardless as they head up onto the banking.
Yeah, I'm moving back up to the front of the field here real quick. Interesting story here. Guillermo Busato in the Alliance Sky number 18 there, sitting in second place right now. That car is really beat up. We saw him have contact earlier, and he's fighting an ill-handling car. Still manages to have this thing in second place. But right now, John Allen has broken away from everybody, and he's checked out on the field to the tune of about 2 seconds right now, maybe about a second and a half actually. But yeah, this is not much of a battle for position at the very front right now.
Just behind him, we were watching a battle between Leandro Schmidt and the RW Team Machine Black and White one there, just in front of Alexander Chaudron and the GCL Sim Racing 2 MX5 in black and red. Those guys were almost going too wide into the bus stop again, but they went through single file in the end under braking, and we've got another caution. 4th one of the day. Let's see if we can figure out who caused this one. Trying to track it down. Oh, looks like it was... Looks like Steven Spantang and James Alex Brown might have gotten into it. And that was in the International Horseshoe. You were watching the replay just now. Just got tipped on the entry, couldn't hold on to it, and got hit for a second time. Thankfully, with a huge pack of cars barreling down, everybody managed to avoid that, Aaron. That was good driving from everybody else, at least.
Oh yeah, very tight race in there, and some good avoidance skills. For the whole of that stint, I was actually watching a battle for 4th place in the GS class between Amjad Yaman, Louis Kugali, and Daniel Alencar. They were going 3 wide multiple times. Actually had a lot of car contact as well. I was really nervous that one of them might have had their races ended in some of that battle. So, I mean, I think these guys are a little relieved that that's over now with this caution. They can catch back up to the top 2 guys, Dave Galink and Todd Honzarenko, who are actually pulling away. They got about a 6-second gap ahead of them while they were battling.
Well, we are getting pretty close to the halfway point in this race. We've got about, I think, 10 more minutes until we hit the halfway. So let's go through the order of the field, since we are now solidified on that one at least, although some guys might duck off into the pits. Leading the way overall and in the GS field for Torque Chicken Racing is Todd Honzarenko, who's been leading pretty much since the start when he relieved Amjad Yaman of that position. NX Racing is in second with Dave Galink still in that machine. Randy Chineth is sitting in third in the new World Sim Sport Mustang. Then for Blackadder Motorsports in 4th, it's Louis Sigali. 5th is Amjad Yaman. 6th is Daniel Alencar. 7th is Andrew Mick. Then 8th, Stephen Phillips. 9th, James Alex Brown for Klansman Racing. And 10th, Ayrton is Alexis Molina.
Are we going through the full order?
Oh, I figured you might as well.
Okay, in 11th place, Phil Schrader for Klansman Racing. In 12th is Alan Tezier in the JCI Sim Racing Ford Mustang car. And then for BC Racing, in 13th place is Brandon Schuloff for 49 Motorsports. In 14th place is Antti Tuominen. Stefan Spandik is in 15th place for Blackadder Motorsports number 67. Exporter Motorsports is in 16th with Christopher Bufate driving for that car. Bad Cactus Racing, the green team, is in 35th place, driven by Elliot Mimi. The rest of the GS cars after that are all non-finishers.
In ST, and first we have John Allen for 49 Motorsports. Second is Guillermo Lucas Bizzato. Then in third, it's Leandro Schmidt. Fourth is Alexander Chaudron. 5th is Antoine Mays for Team Potato BE. That is, Team Potato is still my favorite team name so far. Then in 6, we have Dexter Castro, who has just recently hopped into the car for 49 Motorsports. Then it's the other Team Potato team for Ben Callow, followed by James Stevenson. Then it's Jose Ariaza, followed by Travis Schwanke, and then Stefan Oergaard.
Yeah, and then back to Robert Warner there in the number 55, the Torque Chicken Racing Machine. And then we've got Stefan Morian still fighting his way back up through the field here, staying in this thing in a number 81. The number 92, Hayden Burns. The 58, 4X Racing, Andy Morgan. 49 Motorsports C entry, Hang Ho Tao. Crystal Racing, Dick A. Lee in number 83. TrackJunkies.org machine, number 98, Doc Stout here, the last car running in ST Field. BWR Racing is out of the show, guys.
Indeed, we have a number of teams, I should say, who are out. Sim Race Drivers team is out of this race. BWR Racing is out as we see the leaders head in for the pits. These are the guys that haven't done their pits yet, nor their driver swaps, so this will set them back in the field a little bit, unfortunately. Alliance Sky Racing is out. Men in Blue Racing is out. IFCO Racing is out, and Turn 2 Motorsports is also gone from the race already. So now, as Todd Honzarenko and Dave Galink jump into their pit stalls, they should be doing, I imagine, their pit stops, or their driver swaps now, and we can see Amjad Yaman, who actually misses his pit and has to back in there. And unfortunately, Yanis is going to lose a little bit of time for that. But
No, Amjad Yaman's not in the pits. That's William Levesque, I think.
No, William Levesque is with Dave Galink in NX Motorsports.
No, Amjad's on the track at the moment.
Excuse me, that must have been Antti Tuominen who I saw jump in then.
Yeah, he switched with JD Baumgartner. And then John Hall came in for Randolph Chenoweth, the New World Sim Sports team.
Such are the growing pains of getting used to driver swaps over here. So William Levesque, as you said, however, is in the NX Motorsports Mustang now, back out on track. You can see him in that purple-black machine, back out coming through the International Horseshoe. So a number of drivers have now done their swaps and are on their way, and Honzarenko is driving with, I'm trying to remember who his co-driver is.
Jeff Jacobs. They didn't switch, though.
Interesting. So, obviously given a long stint for Honzarenko then.
And then also the leaders, Louis Kugali for Blackadder Motorsports, and Amjad Yaman for 49 Motorsports, and Daniel Alencar for the Gabby team. They also haven't switched either. They did their pit stop in the previous caution, so they've been promoted to the lead.
This is going to get really interesting, I feel like, Sean, later down the line as drivers are electing to take different cautions, try and do their stops. That I have to imagine that we're going to see some, if we get a little bit more green racing towards the end of the race, it's going to be really unpredictable with so many different pit strategies playing out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're halfway through this thing now. We've had 4 caution flags, so the old saying that cautions breed cautions, have another 4 cautions here in the second half of the race. Yeah, anything can happen. I don't think these moves we're seeing right now are going to be the last moves of the day by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to see a lot of strategy still being played out here. Busato decides to keep that Alliance Sky Racing machine still on the track. Could have come in for some damage repair, but decided not to. He's got that thing out there, and he's favoring position right now over anything. So that team, Alliance Sky, is going to try and stretch this thing just a little bit further here. Probably wait till the next caution, bring it in, and do their driver swap. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of strategy going on here this second half of the race, Joe.
Yeah, Ayrton, I'd be impressed if you knew this stat off the top of your head. Would 8 cautions be our record?
I'm gonna on yes. I can check that.
Yeah, you'll have to look that up for us, because I was trying to think, like, we've had a number that have had quite a few cautions, but I can't remember what the most have been. I want to say 7 is the most. We'll have to. Well, while Ayrton is going and looking at that, the order obviously has changed some. Louis Sigali leading the way in the GS field, and just behind him, Amjad Yaman worked his way back up to second, but he's followed by Daniel Alencar in the Gabi machine, and James Alex Brown, despite having that huge hit in turn 1, is still out there. And look at that machine; it's definitely got a lot of front end damage. Once we can see, now. You can see that front end just pug-nosed all up. That is not going to help him on the oval at all. So the marshals are sorting things out. Let me see if the pace car has the lights off. Lights are still on, so we are going to have at least another lap and two-thirds or so under pace car conditions here. As we look at Phil Schrader and Elaine Teslier, excuse me. We haven't seen a lot of them on screen. Steven Spantig doing a very good job sitting in 8th. He's a new driver in this series. And there's Christopher Beaufet sitting in 9th. His car is just a little bit damaged, but not too badly. Then in 10th, you can see Guillermo Buzzatto. He's been one of the front runners for some of this race, but sitting down a little bit farther. But he's got quite a bit of damage on the back of that machine. Someone has bumped into him. And I just now noticed whoever that is in the a SpongeBob car. Antoine Mays, I'm hearing there. Yes, Antoine Mays. And that's Team Potato. So that's the first time I've spotted that paint. That is I have to say, Sean, that car gets my kudos for most interesting paint out there at the moment.
Oh, I didn't know you. I didn't realize you hadn't seen that paint yet.
No,
yeah, that's great. Yeah, the potato machine. I love the eyes and the teeth there in the back there. Yeah, the Team Potato SpongeBob machine is pretty cool looking.
So glad we got to give that one some screen time. Antoine and the Team Potato guys, well done on that. Followed obviously in 13th by Callow, also on Team Potato in a not quite as eye-catching but nicely painted blue and red machine. And then there's James Stevenson looking to reclaim that crown. I don't know if he's looking to reclaim any clowns out there. I don't know. I wouldn't want one, but the BAM purple and pink machine is sitting a little bit ways down, so he's got some places to try and make up, but he's got an hour and 14 minutes to try and do it, Sean. So I would never count out James Stevenson, even if he was sitting in 14th.
Yeah, now James Stevenson has certainly proven himself time and time again in this series, and I wouldn't worry about him yet. He's in control of his own destiny, as he always is, and he will be a contender before this thing is over.
That's for sure. So we hopefully will get a green flag this next time by. And Ayrton, sounds like you have some information on the caution flags.
Yep, the most cautions that have in one race is 7, which was in 2 occurrences.
I was right.
At Barber Motorsports Park in Season 2, and this track here at Daytona, first race of the season in Season 3.
Oh, I bet you remember Season 2 Barber race.
Yeah.
Or was that Season 1? There's one where you wound up on your lid. I remember that.
Yeah, last lap I ended up on my roof.
And I think results were reversed somewhat because there was so much confusion going on. So that was interesting times. We learned a lot in the first couple seasons of the Conti series. So,
but an interesting trend is actually the most Daytona races have had at least 4 or 5 cautions every season.
We're already up to, this is 4th, is that correct?
Yeah, 4th one.
And we're halfway through now. We're hour and 13 minutes left. So if the trend continues, and let's hope not, because I hope we get a little bit more green flag racing. Let's hope that we maybe stay at 5 at the most out here. Guys, it seems like the guys are getting a little bit more patient. We've had longer green flag runs between cautions at least, but we're still seeing a few things start to unfold in the middle of big packs, which is usually what tends to bring these cautions out. So, and
if these top 3 guys in the GS class were battling like they were last green flag stint, that's definitely going to be a battle to look out for.
Well, pace lights are off, so I think we're going to be going green this time, Bob.
Okay, so does anyone know, just a little trivia game here, does anyone know what heaps good means at Team Potato Machine at number 99 there that Ben Callow's in?
I am not sure. Is that on the back of their car?
Yeah, it's on the rear deck lid and on the hood of that car.
Let's see if we can get a camera on that, possibly. Get on board with James Stevenson and on the nose of James Stevenson, see if we can see that. We'll have to ask the potato team what heaps goods mean. So we're pulling that camera up there where you can go. Yeah, you can just see it on the back there.
Yeah, heaps good.
Maybe they're sponsored by Idaho Potatoes or something. That's their new slogan.
No, it's actually of Australian origin, South Australia to be exact. A little bit of slang there from down under.
So it must be an Australian-based team. We actually, that's something we should mention real quickly before we go back to green. Is just the international nature of this series. Guys from all over Europe, all over Brazil, the South America, North America, and Australia. We have a few teams from Asia as well, but not quite as many. It's a little bit late at night over there in Eastern Europe and Asia.
Well, I can certainly confirm that Team Potato is from Australia. Yeah, that is one of our Australian teams in the race, and of course we have Australian drivers in the race, including Richard Losper himself.
Including the leader as well in the GS class. Louis Kugali is actually leading his first laps this caution.
Let's see how he does holding on to it, and because we are getting ready to go back to green as the pace car comes off of NASCAR 4. So we are going to have our fourth restart, fifth start overall, coming back from guys being released from the pace car. There he goes, ducking off into the pits. Sigali has control. He gets the green flag. He accelerates away, but it's not a big jump. Amjad Yaman is staying close behind him. We've already got a car trying to go too wide. That's James Alex Brown and Alexis Molina. It looks like just ahead of him, they've got Daniel Alencar looking to go too wide, but he ducks back into line and coming around the outside. I think that's Alexis Molina who's gained a spot in turn one.
Yeah, great pass there. James Alex actually skimmed the inside grass going into turn one, almost lost the car, managed to control it, so good driving from him.
Meanwhile, it was Guillermo Bizzato who led the way in the ST field. Oh, and we had a spin somewhere on the screen there. Elliot Mimi almost lost it coming through. Oh, and I thought he got hit there for a second, but he pulls off, so he's having some trouble or something. He's calling for a tow. He's trying to find a hole in the wall, and they're giving him permission, so he is gone. While Guillermo Lucas Bizzato, as I was saying, is leading the way in the ST field. Alexander Shodron is sitting in second, and I'm seeing some smoke from somebody, and that is Liam Hackwith. He has blown an engine or something. His car is going very slow with a lot of black smoke as the ST field works around him. Let's hope that doesn't bring out a caution. He should be able to pull that far enough away that the marshals can just get that one away. Yeah, it looks like they're going to give him a pass, and we are going back to Yaman, who is looking to see if he can find a way past the leader, possibly. No, he's going to stay in line. It looks like the doctor is, in fact, playing patient. And we might have lost Sean for a second there. We apologize for that. But meanwhile, still watching, I'm Jad Yaman. And what was that nickname, Ayrton, that he's gotten recently from
Ramen. Ramen, I think.
Ramjed? Yeah, I think it was Ramjed. Ramjed,
yeah,
that's
Ramjed.
what it was. So
He's
Dr.
getting past right
Ramjed.
Daniel Alencar going on the outside of him as they head across the front stretch right now.
Yeah,
They're both closing up on the leader as well.
Yeah, and knowing Amjad, he's probably going to try and back out of that. And it looks like Alencar is as well. Alencar, being one of the faster drivers, definitely knows how to race in these high-pressure situations, so he doesn't make a mess out of it. Just behind them, Alexis Molina, usually one of the mid-pack drivers, but Alexis, I guess, has maybe been making good use of Todd Honzarenko there, Ayrton, and he is now holding on to fourth quite well.
Yeah. Speaking about Honzarenko, he's actually having a battle right now with Galink for NX Racing. They're actually battling in 7th place at the moment, a little farther down since they had to pit. But actually, that's not Galink anymore. That's William
Levesque.
Yeah.
Levesque in the car now, so excuse me, I thought Hans Renko was Molina's co-driver, but I was incorrect on that, so excuse me. But Hans Renko has now moved himself up into 7th position, it looks like, and relieved, 5th position, and relieved William Levesque of the NX Racing Machine of that. Now they jump up onto the banking and are going to try and run down these leaders. Speaking of which, let's go back to Sigali and Amjad Yaman, who is closing up on the back. Is he going to try it this time?
Oh, he's got a great run.
No, he's staying right in line. He's pulling right up on the bumper. I think he's waiting for something later. He's going to wait for a mistake or something. He is not looking like he tends to make a move at any point in the near future.
Yeah, if he tries to make a pass in that bus stop, he's going to just lose so much time. That's going to allow the other guys, Hans Renko, to catch up. So I think he's just trying not to let that happen at this point.
So it sounds like we have Sean Ambrose back. So let's jump over the ST and see what's going on over there, because we've got an Asbury Motorsports machine up at the front.
We certainly
and
do.
there's
A little bit of
contact.
contact. Yes, a little bit of contact from Team Potato there. But Stevenson, our leader, hangs on to it. But man, 3 wide, a hornet's nest behind him, 4 wide. Wow.
Whoa. Stevenson has a slowdown. He is down on the apron. I'm not sure if they're going to call that as a racing on the apron from Alexander Shodron, who had to take very low to avoid everybody as they almost went
contact
4
in the
wide.
GS class. Amjad Yaman spins around. He had contact with Daniel Alenkar coming out of turn 2. He spins around.
And we've got a caution. Ooh, his car is not looking very fast. As we watch the replay coming down into turn 1, a little bit of connection issues there, but now they come back side by side with, I can't remember the name of the driver that was...
Alenkar.
Alenkar, thank you. And it's just difficult, Ayrton, I think, to go too wide in those Mustangs through there.
Yeah, I think that might have damaged his system a little bit. I'm not quite sure. But he's back driving, lost a few positions.
His car is moving pretty slowly, it looks like, as we're watching that replay one more time. Gonna see it from the blimp here. That zigzag back and forth always kind of scares me when someone tries to make it too wide through there, Ayrton. I'm not surprised that that wound up going sour for one of them.
And Yaman is actually pulled to the side of the road. I'm not sure if he's going to take a tow or just letting everyone by.
Yeah, I can't
He's
tell.
really struggling.
Yeah, it looked like his car was having a hard time.
Yeah, he's really crab walking around the track, so I think he definitely got hit in that suspension. But you're right, that's S section after turn 1. It's too the Mustangs are too wide to go through that side by side. The MX-5s can do it fine, but the Mustang's just too difficult. And he was just not wanting to give up that position after he was trying to make a move, actually for the lead on Lewis Kugalian. And then Alenkar just slipped in there, managed to get the position.
That'll be a real travesty if he got suspension damage after running such a good race and really biding his time. He's actually holding up some of the MX-5s right now, it looks like. So whatever, his car must be really in bad shape for him to be having such a hard time to keep speed. And now they're actually getting waved around him.
He's probably going to take some time to do repairs to that car. Probably going to go a lap down as well. So both 49 Motorsports cars having some tough luck today in this race.
And, you know, sometimes that's just the way it goes, especially with Daytona. It's such an unpredictable track. Pretty much every single season we've seen unusual results with the finish or very close finishes. And it's just very hard to tell. Things unfold so quickly with the high speeds. And we can see Amjad now going to get his damage repaired. It's not too much of a shock that sometimes we get events like this where top drivers are taken out early on or halfway through the race, and just things that you don't expect come out of the woodwork when you show up at Daytona, Sean.
Yeah, well, you know, we've seen often at this track, you know, anything can happen here. But here back in the SD class, we do have a new leader, as Alexander Chaudron, as they cycled around, is now your new leader in ST. Fighting a little bit of early damage on that car, but he has done enough to keep this car in the race. And if I remember correctly, I don't believe there's been a driver swap in that car yet. Now we're getting down in the last hour of this race. Now you have to wonder when that team is gonna make that switch here.
Let me check, because some of the drivers did declare that they're going to be doing a single driver race.
He did, yes. I'm showing that. Yeah, Chaudron is toughing it out for this one, taking one for the team and going to go the distance.
So we'll see how that plays out for him, if they can hold on to that lead when they come back to green. We are going to take a very short break under this yellow, then we'll come back and bring you the restart here at Daytona Motor Speedway. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway as we look at John Hall curiously stopped at the exit of the International Horseshoe. We're not exactly sure what's going on there, but we are under caution, our fifth caution of the day, if I'm not mistaken. So we are expecting, if this continues, potentially 8 cautions, which would be a new record. 7 is the most, which has been done twice in the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series. We've got 57 minutes left on the clock our leaders in each class currently for Blackadder Motorsports. We have...
No, it's Bad Cactus Racing.
Excuse
Blackadder
me.
pitted.
That's right. Excuse me. Bad Cactus Racing, the white team, has Alexis Molina in the car, leading at the moment. And then the only MX-5 driver who stayed out in the ST class, Team Potato BE with Antoine Mays, is going to lead them away. So he's going to have a host of cars that are full of fuel and probably have fresh tires raring to go behind him. And pretty, like we said, pretty much the entire ST field went in and stopped. And I expect that's a strategic decision, Sean.
Yeah, it may not pay off though. It's the rest of the field went in, and he's probably going to get run over on the restart here. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but hopefully here cooler heads are going to prevail. Well, is he? No, I think he's faking us. No, he's going in. Oh,
I think he realized his mistake.
Yeah. So now he's going to get shuffled all the way back.
Yeah. The car behind him. Let's see. I couldn't quite make that out, and our timing and scoring is updating itself still. It looks like Joao Freitas. Now, this is one of the ones that I had highlighted as a team to watch. 49 Motorsports. That's Joao Freitas, and let's see who his teammate was. John Allen. And so they've done their driver swap. Now, Joao Freitas has won races before in this series, and when he did, it has been, and he just destroyed the field. Basically, is the only way to put it.
Well, yeah, and now he's got the clean air and the benefit of being there at the front. We could certainly see a situation here where Joao just kind of runs away, runs away with it. He's certainly capable of it. We've seen him do it before. But we've got some pretty good racers behind him, so we can't forget about those guys either. Some that are even new to the series, Dick A. Lee and second, Doc Stout back there in third. Then we get back to 49 Motorsports in fifth there, in fourth, Hang Hotel. 49 Motorsports again there, and rounding out the top five, Dexter Castro. Got to watch out for him. Certainly can't forget about Dexter.
Yes, it's still a bit of ways to go, so there's still a lot of racing to play out, but some of the major players, they're going to work their way to the front. You cannot doubt that. And the lights are off on the pace car, so we will be seeing the green flag momentarily, Eric.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Alexis Molina will manage having Hans Renko and Levesque, two of the fastest Mustang drivers around, right behind him for the beginning of this race, because Molina, he's never been a top driver. He's always been kind of mid-pack up there. He's Jason Poisson's partner who drove for the first half.
Yeah, and we've seen William Levesque on our broadcast before. He drove in the SRF Week 13 Big Grid races, which is just completely stacked with talent. You can't get into there and be a top 10 runner without being one of the best in the world practically. And Levesque actually won that race one of the seasons, so that is another one that we had highlighted and we wanted to keep an eye on, and he is not disappointing so far. Hans Renko as well. He has usually been a top driver. I don't think he's won a race yet in the Conti series, but he is usually up there, and I think he's taken a number of podiums. So Molina will have his work cut out for him with these drivers behind. We are in NASCAR 3. We're getting ready to go green once again, and we will get going with about 53 minutes left on the clock. Another interesting note about that ST field real quick is even though we've got Joao Freitas with experience in race wins, behind him DK Lee, Doc Stout, Hang Hotel, all guys that aren't as much front runners, or Hang Hotel not really a front runner as much, but Doc Stout not as much experience. So, and I think we've got the green flag. So we are back to green flag racing as Alexis Molina leads the way. Oh, and he gets hit from behind Hans
Renko. Into the inside.
And slams into the pit wall. there's a car coming out of the pit exit, just grazes him.
Oh,
I didn't see who
geez.
that was. That was an MX-5. That is Dylan Francis. Oh my
It's a
goodness,
good thing
that
he
was
went into the
unusual.
wall. If he came back onto the track in front of the whole field, that would have been big.
We're going to look at the replay of that restart. I think Honzarenko just did not expect him to brake when he did. We're looking at it from the blimp. Oh, that went about as bad as you could possibly predict for poor Alexis Molina. Meanwhile, let's jump back live because there's a battle for the lead as William Levesque has the inside heading towards turn 6. And there's damage on both Levesque and Todd Honzarenko, I believe, as they both made contact into turn 1. But Levesque has now taken the lead, and the NX Racing Machine heading into 51 minutes to go in this race.
Just an update for the 49 Motor Speed car who Amjad Yaman was driving is now back on track, except Yer Yanis is now taking up the car.
So maybe they can get back into it, but the race for the lead is not over as Todd Honzarenko looks at the inside, coming into the bus stop. Backs out of it, though, as Levesque shuts the door. Just behind them, they've got... Oh, and I think there might have been contact between James Alex Brown and Phil Schrader coming out of the bus stop. There was a close moment. I didn't quite see what happened.
I think he might have cut the course. No, he didn't. He didn't get slowed down, but yeah, that was close between those two. He got a little squirrely on the exit. Almost went into... that was Alain Tessier, right?
Yeah, Alain Tessier. Their loss is his gain as
back up
that's
front.
going to move him, and we've got that battle for the lead once again. You were saying during the break, Ayrton, you wanted to see things heat up, and it has. Side by side through turn 1, and it looks like Levesque is going to come out the winner this time as Honzarenko backs off. And it looks like Sean's noticed something over in the ST field.
Yeah, man, we got some craziness going on here. Dexter Castro trying to make a move on Joao Freitas, pulls it off actually, and yeah, man, jockeying for position up here. It's and we've got a Mustang in the mix. It's getting crazy over here, guys. Joao Freitas still in the lead, but doing his very best to keep Dexter Castro from trying to take that position from him. Dick A. Lee had a little bit of trouble there and has kind of slid back and had to let that Mustang get around him, but great battle at the front here now going on between two 49 Motorsports cars of Joao Freitas and Dexter Castro.
Of his 2 wins in the series, Dexter Castro has won the Daytona race one of the times, so I'm sure he'd love to add that a second time as they work through the Western Horseshoe. He's now simply trying to hunt down Joao Freitas. And it looks like that is Rex Buchanan who is coming up behind him. He should be able to make easy work of them once they get to the banking here. And that battle for the GS lead is not over. And Honzarenko this time made it work. This battling, there is a large gap between them and Alain Tessier and JCI Sim Racing 1 Ford Mustang. So these guys are running some good pace up front, because despite going side by side, and now we're going to get some bump drafting as Levesque pulls up and links with Honzarenko. This is definitely going to help them, Ayrton, start to pull even more of a gap.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the guys in third and below, they're mixed between guys all on different strategies. You got different drivers and also guys on who pitted at different times. So they have different worn out tires. So these guys, they're all mixing it up. At the beginning of the restart, there was James Alex Brown for Klansman Racing. He was in third, and he's already dropped back down to 6th. So a lot of switching around going on in this pack from third downwards.
Oh, absolutely. And look at Eric Mick on the inside of Phil Schrader. Tried to get himself a better exit. Looked like he almost had it. Schrader's going to have the inside for the kink. You really don't want to go through there too wide. Mick now slots into line just behind them. They've got James Alex Brown trying to see if he can get into this mix. But it looks like the inside is covered by Mick. And on the outside, though, Phil Schrader starts to drift just a little too wide. He's going to have the inside into turn 6. This is not where they want to be slowing each other up, because now they are going to lose speed all the way around the oval. Mick
And-
on the outside still. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just going to say back here, Stefan Morian and Anderson Mota having a great battle back here for 5th and 6th position, man. They have just been beating and banging on each other. I wonder how much these cars can take here at this point as we get into the closing stages of these races, but it seems to be go time for these gentlemen right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Mota is looking to try and get that car back up to the top to try and fight for the front. That's the problem, is that even though you can use the draft to stay in it, if you lose it from battling, then it's going to be a lot harder work to get up to a pack that is stretched away from you. So up at the front, still we have Dexter Castro leading in that ST field, and Joao Freitas keeping him under tabs.
Yeah, and talk about some heavy hitters up there. James Stevenson is now in the picture as well. Only about a second and a half back, and he is on the come. He is on rails right now. Stevenson coming from like 7th place all the way up to 3rd already. He has got them in his sights and hunting them down now as we speak.
And won't that be interesting? We've seen a lot of incidents in the past between Asbury Motorsports and 49 Motorsports, so if he catches up to these two, there are likely to be fireworks.
Well, we're going to find out here real soon.
I look forward to that. They always put on a great show. Oh, and look at this battle on screen with a bunch of cars, just a whole gaggle coming down into turn 1. That looks like Stefan Overgaard, and I'm trying to see who else is involved in that.
Yeah, take your pick. It's Overgaard. It's Overgaard leading the field through turn 1 there. Man, what a group of racing going on right there.
More in behind him. It's more in behind him than Anderson Mota, who has Johan Lepinas on the inside, who outbrakes him. But can he get it stopped in time? Yes, he does. I thought he was going to run into the side of Morian, and in fact, he might be able to get him on the exit. No, it looks like Morian's got the drive, and he's going to be able to keep that spot safe from him. So now they're finally single file, as they were just everybody looking for something there for a moment into turn 1. Let's see what happens once they get back to the oval here in a moment, because it's going to erupt once again, I have to imagine, down into the bus stop. Oh, and we were 3 wide just behind them. Who was that? That was DK Lee, Dylan Francis, and Jose Arriaza down into the Western Horseshoe.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are so close to each other right now. I mean, everybody is... The whole ST class is just bunched up right now, running in this pack back here. And what Jose Arriaza letting the GT car through. Man, what a battle back here. Just such an exciting race, and we can't forget about the race up front here. Castro still leading the way, but our top 5 is shaping up to be some pretty heavy hitters, guys. Stefan Morian, Anderson Mota, Stefan Overgaard making his way up through there.
Morian was able to get by through it with the draft by Stefan Overgaard, but now Overgaard has a bad exit out of the bus stop, and John Lepinas is going to go on the high side as they've got a Mustang splitting them 3 wide onto the banking, but he gets through without incident. That was John Hall. We're hearing that his wheel was disconnected. That's why John Hall was stopped at the side of the road earlier, so I guess we could equate that to having to reset the car like they sometimes do in the Real World Series. Meanwhile, Stefan Overgaard still has the car of Johan Lepinas trying to pass around the outside coming down to turn 1. Under braking for this curved braking zone, down very, very slow to about 50 miles an hour. Lepinas around the outside, impressive move, completely outdrove Overgaard in the Asbury Motorsports machine.
You don't see that happen a whole lot, do you?
No, that is a sign of things to come, I think, for Johan.
Yeah, well, you know, even with that damage that he's riding with, he still has managed to keep that car in the hunt today, and still looks strong. I mean, you know, the damage is all focused on the rear end. He took that shot to the left rear there early in the race, but has still managed to remain competitive and just took that position from Overgaard. Like Overgaard was standing still as Overgaard makes a little bit of a mistake getting there into the turn. Lepinas is able to move even further ahead and keep it right behind Morian right there.
Yes, as we watch them come back on the oval, I'm jumping back up to our Mustang leaders and see that as they are completing yet another lap, it is still Todd Honzarenko in the lead, and currently William Levesque in that NX racing machine just holding position. He's been backing off, it looks like, Ayrton.
Yeah, he actually fell back a little bit earlier on. He's back up. I'm interested with Tom Honzarenko. He hasn't done his driver swap yet, and there's only about 40 minutes left of the race. So 42 minutes left of the race. So that means this driver, secondary driver, Jeff Jacobs, won't actually get any points from this race, even if he comes on later. At all.
So I'm wondering if Jeff Jacobs had some sort of emergency or something. That's because he signed up with Jeff Jacobs in mind. So this is an interesting development.
But a driver that I have been looking at is actually the driver who took over for.
Meanwhile, sorry to cut in. There's a battle between Stefan Overgaard and I'm trying to figure out who else that is. That's who we saw before. Johan Lepenaz.
It's Overgaard, Morian, and Johan. Yeah, what a battle! Three wide across the line, guys.
Overgaard is going to have the inside line down into the braking zone. We've seen Johan come from around the outside. He can't quite do it this time. He slots in the line, and just behind it, Stefan Morian holding position. I think he was in front of them before that straight, though, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. But I mean, this is a battle that's behind the leaders. I mean, and they've lost significant ground to the leaders because of this fighting. The leaders are just pulling away from the rest of the field right now. But Overgaard taking advantage of a good situation there and is now starting to pull away from everybody again.
There might have been just a bit of slight contact, but we have a caution, and I don't see who that was for. This is number 6.
And just before that caution fell, Castro was able to get in front of Freitas.
It's Andy Morgan and Kyle Burney. Looks like it's in the International Horseshoe. Oh, and we're just watching the replay. Whoa! Oh my goodness. So it looks like Bernie went to the inside of Andy Morgan. They made just a little bit of contact. Morgan spun sideways, clipped him again, and they had just about 5 or 6 cars barreling down on them, could not get out of the way. That's been a theme of the day, I feel like, Sean. Just something starts to unfold, and everybody can't get away from it soon enough.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of close racing today, and it's going to happen when everybody is that close on the road together. Man, that was just a mess, man. Cars flying all over the place there. It's a little bit late in the race too to have a long pit stop for damage repair right now. We are getting into the closing frame of this race, and now is a very inopportune time to mix it up with somebody and get that much damage on your car, and you're going to eat up a lot of time sitting there for that repair if you can't get the car around.
Yep, the old adage, if you want to have damage in an endurance race, you want it to be early. Doc Stout was involved in that, just so we can go through some of the cars involved. George Fike, James Alex Brown, and Amadou De Brito was also involved in that one. And there was Ing Ho Tao did a really good job of avoiding it all. He just was coming up onto it and got onto the brakes in time to avoid everything. He had great heads-up driving there on that one, though he still has a bit of damage from previous incidents on that car, it looks like. So it looks like he's is not quite a pristine car there, Sean. Hotel.
Not quite. No, that one's, as we'll say, rolling dirty. Yeah. But hey, man, let's look at the top 5 in this in the MX5s here. We've got that classic battle between 49 Motorsports and Asbury Motorsports shaping up here as they all occupy the top 4 spots right now. And sitting back there with a front row ticket to the battle is Stefan Morian.
For the Auger Racing Team, that number 81 car is gonna... Excuse me, that's Turn 2 Motorsports machine. I've got the wrong information for some reason on my machine. Not sure why that is showing up as Auger Motorsports. But yeah, currently Dexter Castro is leading the way for 49 Motorsports E. 49 Motorsports A has João Freitas. Then it's James Stevenson sitting in third still. The number 426, Asbury Motorsports. And then the number 14, Stefan Overgaard, has managed to work his way back up. And this caution has definitely helped him on that one, sitting in
GS
fourth.
Field and pits. Todd Honsarenko, William Levesque. Actually, most of the front runners in the GS are coming in.
So this makes sense since we've got about 37 minutes left. This should get everybody to the end of the race. I think at this point all the MX-5s and the Mustangs from here on out should have enough fuel, if I'm not mistaken. So as we watch the pits, let's see who can manage to get out first here. Honsarenko was the first one in, I believe. Who is that coming out?
Mika
That is-
Eschwi, that's a fast stop. He's going to pass these guys. He was behind them at first.
And oh, Jeff Jacobs is in the car. Jeff Jacobs has finally stepped in. They made a mistake there. There was a big error going on unless Jeff Jacobs simply does not care to go for points.
That also has
Interesting.
JD Baumgartner passed him. Quite a few Mustangs passed him for position. But
So here-
William Levesque has slower pit stop, so he didn't actually gain any time.
So here's the real question. Jeff Jacobs in the past has not been a front-running driver in this series, and Honsarenko has. So this, I don't know about this decision, Ayrton. I feel like if it was me, I would have put Jacobs in the car early and let Honsarenko do later on, especially with all these cautions.
I mean, he's not that slow. I mean, I feel like he was around the pace of Nicholas Bailey.
But keep in mind, he's now much farther back, though. So he's going to
Yeah,
have to
that's true.
pass a lot of cars. So I feel like this is a strategic error on the part of
Both of
Torchick.
the Blackadder Motorsports cars are out as well. So if they are confident that they have enough fuel to reach the end, they're in a good spot.
When did Blackadder last come in? We'll have to try
They
and
came in
track
the
that
last
down.
session, and that was about 50 minutes left of the race.
So I bet you they're banking on cautions, helping them save fuel.
yeah,
We've
that's
got
for sure.
35 minutes left to go. This is one. That actually could that'll probably stretch them to 50 minutes, I bet you.
John Hall's going to get a wave by World Sim Racing. No, new World Sim Sport.
We talked about our top runners in the GS class, so let's look at, the ST class. Let's look at our GS class. Marco Abate is currently leading the way in GS. Brett Kincaid, who I guess is just in that car, did he swap this time around, or no? He stayed out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
He swapped in for Stefan Spantig.
So he is going to get his time in the car. Is in second. Then Brian Howard in the NRG Racing number 15 sits in third. And Rex Buchanan, who we saw working his way through some of the ST field before, is up into fifth, or is he a lap down? He's a lap down, I believe.
Yeah, and then
No, we're hearing that he is officially in fourth. That we're seeing on screen.
Yeah, fourth place. And then right behind him is Mika Eschwi, which was the first guy out of the guys that pitted this caution. So I think out of all the drivers in the GS class, he's in the best position right now.
Eschwi must have topped up on fuel a little bit earlier or something, because that short stop really served him
He pitted
well.
last caution. That's when the driver swapped.
Yeah. So I bet you they just topped up on fuel just to make sure that worked out for them. So a lot of really interesting strategy. This is those of you who are wondering why we are so fascinated by this. It's been a little bit limited in previous seasons in strategy as drivers figure out how they want to play things out. But this one has just been an absolute plethora of teams trying different things in the pits. So Mika Eschwi could be a driver that pulls a little bit on everybody with more than enough fuel to make it to the end, possibly even fresh tires. As
Jeff Jacobs is back in.
So Jeff Jacobs must be having some trouble with something there.
He might have short-fueled it.
It just is going from bad to worse for the Torque Chicken Racing team.
He led the most laps as well.
after Amjad doing so well and seeing them fall by the wayside, now in the in the 49 Motorsports machine, now seeing the Torque Chicken machine start to fall by the wayside by strategy instead of unfortunate accidents. It's once again with Daytona, it's a question of who is going to be at the front at the end. We just don't know until it gets right down to the closing stages. Lights are still on the pace car, so we still got about a lap and a half before we go green at the least.
Yeah, well, they just flipped those lights back on here on that last time around. They're still trying to get everybody back in line here and make sure everybody gets their wave arounds and back in position here. So we had a little bit of a delay getting back to the green flag here, Joe.
So I'm curious, actually, where is the 49 Motorsports car of J.D. Baumgartner? Currently sitting in 15th overall, I'm seeing.
He's had damage on his car all race. I don't think he's really been quite up to speed.
Yeah, they've got damage on the front. That was the car that Amjad Yaman was in, was running up front earlier, the 49 Motorsports D machine. And they've got a nice new paint job on that one. I do like that. They usually get really good ones out there between Dexter Castro and Sky Willis does a lot of paints for them, so have to give a shout to those two who do a lot of good work to make those cars look good and nice and shiny. Not going to be nice and shiny by the end of this race, though. A lot of damage on cars out there, as well as dirt and grime building up as 2.5 hours have worked their way through. We've got 30 minutes, about just under 31 minutes left on the clock at the moment. It is really now getting down to the final few laps for these cars.
Yeah, not much time left to go now. I mean, it truly is go time now. So hopefully we don't see another caution flag, because that could really cut into an exciting finish here. Hopefully it won't, but I'm looking forward to getting this thing restarted here with less than 30 minutes to go here, and see these guys just put it out on the ragged edge here for a win.
Here's hoping they can keep it green the rest of the way. So crossing fingers, toes, eyes, and all different body parts. We're getting word from the YouTube comments that Ben Callow got a towing glitch, and for those that aren't familiar, unfortunately driver swaps still have a few glitches going on, and including when you actually try to swap out drivers with some of the settings in your pit stall, that can cause some problems. So poor Ben Callow seems to have suffered from that one. Where is he sitting at the moment, actually, Sean? Do you see him?
Ben has moved. He's not in the car right now, but they have moved. They have moved all the way back to 17th place right now. 16th place. I'm sorry. Yeah,
16th place.
Dylan Francis is in the machine now.
Oh, we're getting updated info. We're hearing he's in 32nd overall, but there's not 32 cars in the ST field, so we'll hopefully get that updated at some point. Fortunately, we're trying to get class positions for you, but we don't seem to be getting that on our timing and scoring. So, but regardless, clearly he is far back because there are 43 cars in the field, and we have a number of them out already, out of the race. In fact, I think we have, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars potentially out of the race. So he could possibly be in dead last of the cars still running for poor Ben Callow, who was actually fighting for the lead at one point in this race. Pace lights should be off at this point. Let me double check that. Yes, they are off, so we are going green this time by.
I'm getting excited.
Me too. Less than 30 minutes. I'm going to ask Ayrton, who's your pick? Sean?
My pick will have to be Mika Eshwi. He's sitting in 5th place right now. He has fresh tires. I think he has a good chance to slice through those top 4.
Yeah, we've seen him in the MX-5 World Tour this season, and we know that he is not a slow driver by any means, so he does have a good chance to try and get a win in his very first CESCS race. We've seen a couple of drivers do that already, including one very famous other Finn, because I think Mika Eshui is a Finn, is he not? I believe he's Finnish. I want to say he is, yes, but
No, Benelux.
Benelux. Oh, excuse me. So, apologies. He is not a Finn then, but Kimmo Suominen won in his first time out in this series, and I believe Amjad Yama did not win in his first time out. It was his first race of the season, first season that he did full time, which was last year, 2014. So we are just about ready to go green as pace car is coming out of NASCAR 4 now.
Hey, by the way, I'm taking Stefan Overgaard. That 14 machine, that 14 MX-5 has looked strong all day. When Richard Losper was in it, back to Stefan Overgaard now in his capable hands. Give me the 14 for the win today, guys.
Sorry about that. I forgot about that. Thanks, Sean, for jumping in there. We got the green flag now as Marco Abate leads them away. It looks like he's got his teammate behind him as they have similar paint schemes. Down into turn 1 now. Let's see who is going to be over eager because it's time to make up positions. Mika Eshui is looking on the inside. He's starting to get up there. Looks like he overtakes Rex Buchanan. Wow, 3 wide down into the International Horseshoe behind them. A lot of action going on back there, including William Levesque, who's trying to get back up front. Now heading down towards the kink as guys are trying to sort themselves out, but it's looking like the start of the race once again as everybody is very aggressive.
Levesque just making position every corner. He's really trying to make up for that really slow pit stop he had in the last caution.
And he's going around the outside Rex Buchanan and able to work his way past there. Meanwhile, Mika Eshui currently sitting in fourth. Your pick is actually trying to hunt down Ian Howard. You can see on your screen 2 white cars, which I'm sure doesn't make it very easy, but Mika Eshui is in the number 3 car. Heading down towards the bus stop. No attempt there, not close enough to make anything happen. But up front, Marco Abate and Owen. We saw a bit of a spin on screen. I didn't quite catch who it was. And we think it might have been John Hall, but we heard that they had didn't hit anything, so they gathered it up. But I was going to say, Marco Abate is doing a great job in the number 66 Blackadder Motorsports car.
Eshui on the inside for third.
Looks like he's got a really good opportunity to get up into the podium here, and he does it very cleanly. That's about the cleanest pass I've seen all day up into turn 1. And
James Stevenson will not be denied, guys. He is across the stripe in the lead now, going into 1 with Joao Freitas down there on the inside, and what a move! Oh, Freitas takes the position away from him, going into turn 1.
Oh my goodness, he had to push Dexter Castro, who was trying to get him up there, and I don't know how he stopped that car, but he was the latest on the brakes of anybody, and he was the farthest inside. I cannot believe that he managed to do that, but he is now leading the race with 23 minutes left to go.
More of that classic battling there between Asbury Motorsports and 49 Motorsports guys, but Stevenson, like I said, just won't be denied. He is back in the lead here on point.
Portuguese driver leading the way in that 49 Motorsports machine, but just behind him, the Asbury Motorsports car of James Stevenson looking to hunt him down. He's very close heading into turn 6. Doesn't make a move. He knows he's going to get the draft, but he gets a very bad exit coming onto the oval, and that means just behind him, Johan Lepinas has a really good run. In fact, we're on board with the number 37 right now as he tries to close in on that pink and purple machine.
He's trying, but man, I just don't know if he can get to him. He's not moving up to him yet. We're not seeing him close yet like we have in the past. Maybe that car is just wearing out a little bit, but he is starting to make up a little bit of ground now, but I don't think he's going to be able to get to him to make a move here.
He lifted before they got to the braking zone of the bus stop. Let's see if he can do something better coming out of the bus stop here. Tries to accelerate, but look at James Stevenson with an incredible run coming out of there, and he's already up on the outside of Joao Freitas. The 49 Motorsports car has no answer. They're side by side heading around the banking, Sean.
Yeah, what a battle. What a battle. He is definitely trying to make it up there, but Joao has got his foot in it hard there. He's staying in it, and right now has just a little bit of an advantage on him. But Stevenson's not going to give it up. He's going to continue side by side. Looks like he's going to get a little help from behind, too.
And it's not over yet. Look at Johan coming up around the outside. We're looking at 3 wide. Dexter Castro backs out of it. Now he has Stefan Overgaard coming around the inside of him. James Stevenson backs out of it, and it looks like Joao Freitas, once again for the second time in a row, comes out in the lead. Stevenson closes up on the back of the 49 Motorsports machine, but he isn't able to try and pull the over-under.
Not quite. Not quite. He couldn't pull it off right there. But Stevenson is just not giving up here. He is all over Joao Freitas. What a race going on, guys, here. The top 5, top 6 cars all battling out, trying to get their way to the front as we get into almost the final 20 minutes here of this race.
Current ST order, Joao Freitas first, James Stevenson second, Johan Lepinas in third, and fourth it's Dexter Castro, followed by Stefan Overgaard, rounding out the top 5. And they're all up in the top 6 are just nose to tail. There is nothing separating them.
Now, you would think it's the last lap right now. It's not. There's still just under 20 minutes to go in this thing, and these guys are all running just as hard as they can right now. What a race here up at the front.
You know, I'm wondering, looking at Dexter Castro and Stefan Overgaard, they haven't really been trying to make moves to improve positions. I wonder if these guys know when it comes to the last 2 laps, if they're getting the draft from everybody in front of them, they got a really good shot to try and slingshot past people. And speaking of slingshots, we see the draft pulling in Stevenson on Joao Freitas. Does he look to the inside? No. He backs off and lifts. So does Johan Lepinas. In fact, everybody pulls off of it as they go single file through the bus stop. Let's see if there's anything going to happen coming out of there onto NASCAR 3.
No, everybody's tucking in line here so far, but man, again, just what a race going on here between these guys. It looks like the top 4, but now we've got we've got the 5th place cars slipping in here, coming up through the draft. Look at the move on the outside there. That's a Mustang coming up here on the outside, guys.
That is Jeff Jacobs. Actually, he's going to make it 3 wide as he slips by James Stevenson, and Stevenson is into the lead. Can he actually make it stick this time as he works by Joao Freitas? Yes, he's got the inside. He is well clear past, and here comes Dexter Castro around the outside of his teammate. Is he going to actually try and attempt this pass, or is he going to slot back in line? Looks like he is going to let him hold on to that second position, but up the inside comes Johan. He's going to try and get it back, but he's going to be on the outside heading towards the International Horseshoe. Oh, and look at the dive from Freitas into the International Horseshoe. He is going to try and get it back before they even get to the oval. He's got it done. Not even a lap of leading for James Stevenson before Joao Freitas reclaims the lead.
Oh, guys, and we've got the Torque Chicken Machine, Robert Warner, off the course, but it hasn't brought out a yellow yet. Yeah, Robert got off the track there, and he's back up under his own power right now. Did not get involved with anybody else. Looks like he just lost it coming out of the turn there.
And battle's still going on down into turn 6 in the ST field, which is an unusual place to try and make a pass, especially in these cars where the draft is really going to help you. I think we got top 7 altogether we can just see on our screen now. This is getting ridiculous. Meanwhile, in the GS field, let's just touch in there. Marco Abate is holding on to the front, but William Levesque has been hunting him down. He has worked his way all the way up into second and is closing in, under braking down into turn 1 now.
Yeah, there was a battle. Mika Eshry was in third place battling with Kincaid and
there's still a battle there right now, actually. Eric Mick is on the inside of Eshwy, and he's going to take the position.
Yeah, Eshry fell back because he went 3 wide with I think it was Kincaid and Levesque going into turn 1, had contact, fell back a few positions, which put him back into this pack with these guys. He's actually side by side with Kincaid right now as they're heading into the kink, but he got some damage on his suspension, so I think it might damage his speed.
And we just saw a change to the lead as William Levesque got by on the western portion past Marco Abate. Levesque is looking really strong for the win right now. There is no one to challenge behind them. Abate just seeming to lose pace as the last few laps of the race go on. Just cannot hold up to the Frenchman. French-Canadian, maybe.
Maybe.
Possibly. Well, whatever the case, we have gone back to the ST field with top 7 cars all battling for these top positions. Lepinos is trying to defend from Dexter Castro down into the western horseshoe. Castro trying to hold on. Oh, he almost loses it. Holds onto it, but that loses him a position as Jose Arriaza takes it over. And just behind him, it looks like Dries Nice is going to try and take it away, but just can't get by Dexter Castro.
It's just amazing how quickly things have been changing up here at the front of this pack. But Joao Freire is out there keeping it in front clean right now. He's in the clean air, and he's starting to open up a little distance on these guys fighting right behind him here. Stevenson and Castro, everybody mixing it up, and right now just a really, really interesting battle up here with the top 6.
Yeah, Lepinas was trying to look to see if he could draft on by, but it looks like Stevenson was having nothing of it as now he gets back in line, but we're 2 wide behind them. That is Dexter Castro and Jose Arriaza as Castro takes the spot back through the bus stop, and that's going to allow Dries Nice to really get a run on these guys, and they just might lose contact with these top 3 because of that. I was going to say, I'm surprised that Lepinos wasn't trying to maybe work together with Stevenson, but now he won't have to as he's got the draft. Stevenson is pulling a big old toe, tries to look around the outside as they come around NASCAR 4 onto the front stretch, and they're looking at 3 wide once again.
You know, Lepinos goes all the way up top there. I wonder if he should have just slid in behind there, and both of them tried to get clear, but you know, here we go into 1, battling hard.
Going to try and hold on to it. Freitas is on the inside of Lepinas. Stevenson did manage to get first, but it looks like Freitas is going to try and outgun him coming out of the corner. He's got just a bit of a nose in. Now they're fully side by side, but he just doesn't have enough of a run, and he's on the outside. He could pull the over-under. He's looking for it. Stevenson tries to cover him off. He doesn't quite have it. Now Freitas does have the over-under. He's going to be able to outgun him and gets the position back. Freitas back into the lead.
You know, Freitas is just running that really nice tight line down low on the rumble strips, hitting his marks there, staying calm. He's been here before with guys. Oh, and he just missed the braking zone there, didn't he?
And Stevenson tries to take it back. Looks like he might have outbraked himself slightly. No, he makes it stick. But now Freitas has Lepinos trying to come around him. Just doesn't have the steam coming up to that short stretch into turn 6. Freitas closing right up onto the rear bumper, almost pushing him along. And Freitas is going to have a very good draft as he gets a fantastic exit onto the oval portion.
And we're riding along with Johan now, and he's, you know, back here trying to make this move now. Here he goes. He's just watching these guys in front of him now. The race is right in front of him there. What is he going to do? Is he going to go up top and follow? He sure is. Nope, he stays down below. He doesn't know what he's going to do right now.
If I was Lepinas, I would get out of this now. And it looks like now they slot in single file. I was like, if they try to go through there 2 wide, it is not going to end well. And Stevenson is now in second with Freitas in first, Lepinas in third, Dexter Castro sitting in 4th. The pack has caught them. Dries Nice is just a little ways back, sitting in 5th. Stefan Overgaard in 6th, and in 7th, bringing up the tail of the 7-car train for the lead is Jose Arriaza. Meanwhile, still on board with Lepinas, it looks like 2 wide once again with Stevenson going around the outside of Freitas.
But, I mean, what more can you say about what we've seen the last 5 or 6 laps between Freitas and Stevenson here? I mean, they have just been door to door, every lap, back and forth, and then there's the battle right behind him, Castro. Putting on a really strong performance. He's going to be up there. Johan Lepinas, I mean, he's right in this thing too. These 4 cars, any 4 of these cars can win this race right now. And guys, don't look now, but we've got about 10 minutes to go.
And still 10 minutes to go, I should say. 12 minutes to go, really. God, these guys still have another 5 or 6 laps to try and duke it out, and they're acting like right now is the last lap. There's a lot of trust between these drivers as Stevenson has Lepinas down into the inside of the Western Horseshoe. Lepinas has been trying to get himself into that second spot to fight for the lead. This time he actually does it, and Dexter Castro is now on the outside of James Stevenson, but Stevenson is able to find himself a place in line as they get back onto the oval once again. And they've got a Mustang down low. That is... who is that? That's Jair Yanis actually letting them by. Another 49 Motorsports car trying to get out of their way. That is very polite of him. Unfortunate to see, since his team was a contender in the first half of this race. In fact, most of this race, really. Meanwhile, João Freitas leads as we ride on board with Dexter Castro. Castro sitting in 4th, now braking for the bus stop. As we watch this, let's just check in. Let's stay on this battle, but let's just check in with Aaron. What's going on with the GS field?
Well, William Levesque is leading, but Marco Abbat is actually doing a really good job keeping right on his tail for the past few laps, so he might still be able to get back on him if Levesque makes a mistake. 3rd place and back is 12 seconds behind, but that's definitely a hard-fought battle. Also, if ST gets boring, you can always come to that.
I don't think there's a fear of that, as we're going 3 wide for 2nd place, and Lepinas is locked in by Freitas, as we've got Castro and Stevenson who had a run around the outside. They get very close and they touch. Both spin, both trying to hold on to it. Freitas and Stevenson catch it. Freitas is off the track. This gives first to Lepinas. Dexter Castro moves into 2nd. He's got Dries Nice closing in 3rd, trying to find a way past. Dexter Castro tries to block him off. And look, it's Stefan Overgaard coming around the outside, but not quite enough to try and gain the position. And look at this behind them. Stevenson and Freitas are still in it. Both of them managed to hold on. Incredible car control from those two.
Absolutely incredible. They both managed to get those cars back on the track without any damage. And guess what? They still have enough time to get back up here in the mix.
Oh my God!
It is not over. What a call there, Joe.
Wow. Kudos. I was saying there's a lot of respect between those drivers, and there is a lot of skill too. That is no easy task for those guys to come back from that. I wasn't sure if they were going to grab it or not, but with no grip at all, they managed to keep it out of the tire barriers. Meanwhile, Johan Lepinas, I was saying before, when you see that stuff happening, sometimes you just got to back out, let it unfold so you don't get caught up in it. Both he and Dexter Castro called that one right. Now they are both sitting in a perfect position to try and bring this thing home at the top step of the podium. Dexter Castro closing in now. Is he going to try and make it happen? Yes, he is. He looks to the inside, down into the braking zone of the bus stop. Or are they going to go 2 wide? No, Lepinas gives up the ghost as Dexter Castro slips into the lead for the first time this race, I think.
I believe you're right, but now we know this is where Castro loves to be, up front. And right now, if he can just hit his marks, this is his race to win as we get into the closing minutes of this race. What a great battle here. It's top, 4 cars battling it out, coming up on a little bit of traffic here. I'm sure the traffic will get out of the way. But again, just a great battle up front here. Johan Lepinas really just had a wonderful race here. 3 wide as we come across the line, guys.
Oh, and it looks like Stefan Overgaard backs out of it, but look at Dries Nice, and that's a lapped car that they're going by. Dries Nice has moved up into 2nd position now. Team Potato BE, after having a mediocre middle part of the race, has come alive. They are in it now as our top four are Dexter Castro leading the way, Dries Nice in second, Stefan Overgaard in third, and Johan Lepinas in fourth. And look at Stefan Overgaard going around the outside and ease into the International Horseshoe. And just behind them, we got a battle in contact between James Stevenson and Joao Freitas. He got tipped. He is not going to be happy about that. And Stevenson is voicing his displeasure over the radio at the moment. And that is 49 Motorsports and AMS battling once again as we look at the replay.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact there coming out of the out of the horseshoe there.
That was just close racing to me. I don't know about you, Sean.
Yeah, it was very close racing, and you know, but sometimes that's all it takes with these machines. It's just a little touch. But hey, man, these guys have been running a hard race the whole way, and you know, you can complain all you want, but right there, you know, we said it. That's just hard racing, man.
Yeah, when you race that hard for that many laps, something's going to happen. So Dexter Castro, though, let's get a camera on him. He is starting to pull a gap. I don't think he's going to be able to really get away from everybody quite enough. But Dries Nice has his hands full with the AMS car. Oh my God, around the outside into the bus stop. Stefan Overgaard with a great bit of out-braking to get himself into second place. And that is really going to open the gap up to Dexter.
Yeah, and you know, there's my pick there, Overgaard. He's still in this thing. Don't give up on Overgaard. But he's got to fight off this battle behind him here. Dries Nice will not be denied tonight, as he has kept that car in contention and even managed to fight off some adversity in the process. So really, really good battle here as they go across the line. 3 wide again, almost 3 wide there, guys.
Dries Nice almost chopped off Overgaard there. I thought they were going to spin.
Did.
And look at Johan coming around the outside. He did it before. Can he do it again? Not quite. Just not enough grip there this time as Nice is able to retain second place. Here comes Stefan Overgaard once again looking around the outside. He sure likes that outside. He is able to break so late down in the International Horseshoe. He looks for the over-under, trying to get himself a run. Just can't quite do it. Meanwhile, Dexter Castro, this is exactly what he has been needing as he pulls away from these second through fourth place cars.
Sound battle going on up here, but it looks like Dexter Castro starting to kind of get away from everybody right now. Dries Nice keeping him in focus. But
this could work in Dexter's favor. We need to go to him because he's being blocked basically by Dmitry Duganov. Why is he getting in the way?
I don't know what's going on there. Is there any history between those two?
There's none. This is his first race, but he's in the faster class. He should be faster than Dexter, but Dexter was trying to get around him. At this point, he needs to be looking at his F3 and seeing that this is the leaders. There's no point fighting these guys.
Oh, a Mustang spun around Brett Kincaid from 4th place. Spun around in the International Horseshoe. He actually outbraked himself and went straight into the wall and came back onto the track.
We're looking at the replay now. Looks like it was just a glancing blow and just kind of spun. So it looks like he should be able to continue on. So that wasn't a hard enough hit for a caution, thankfully. We've only got 4.5 minutes left.
The story of the race in GS, though, is actually John Hall for a New World Sim Sport. He took over for Randolph Chenoweth. And remember, he had that steering issue. Well, he's in 4th now, battling for a podium position with Mika Eshwi.
What a comeback for them. He is sitting in that black, white, and blue car, trying to get around the white car of, who did you say, of Mika Eshwi?
But it's actually a battle for the lead. Marco Abbat got around the outside of William Levesque. I think Levesque got a slowdown out of the bus stop. And yeah, that gave the position now.
Interesting development. Yeah, he definitely cut that. I was going back and watching that. He is going to have to really try and focus on minimizing those errors with so little time to go, because now it's going to be a draft battle. The question is, does he hang back and try and snipe a Meriton, or does he try and get it now? It looks like he's going to answer my question. He's already looking to the inside of turn 1, but it's going to switch to the outside in the next corner.
They've got a lot of lap ahead of them of MX-5, so that can come into play here as well. I would be trying to get past that as quickly as possible if I were Levesky right now, because the draft just isn't enough to rely on that for a snipe at the line.
And there's also cautions until they get to the white flag. Once the white flag falls, there's no more cautions. Right now, before that, a caution could fly at any time and end this race, and it could be... Oh, and he tips him! He tips Marco Abate, but he holds on to it, and he gets on by! Oh, my goodness. Oh, look at that. That is sportsmanship. That is sportsmanship right there, Aaron.
Yeah, definitely. Now it's going to go all over again.
Now he's going to draft right on past. Those that are wondering what we're talking about, William Levesque got the position through contact, which is generally unfavorable, and he lifted and let him get the position back so that he didn't gain the position through dirty tactics. And, oh, are they going to go 3 wide? Yes, they are. They've got a lapped car there that they're getting by, but he's going to try and go up the inside.
Oh, guys, Lepinos in the wall back here. Oh, what a tough break for him. Coming out of the bus stop, Lepinos in the wall. He was battling with Joao Fredes and Stefan Overgaard and tried to go 3 wide, and it just didn't work coming out of the bus stop, guys.
Meanwhile, Levesque did take over that first position. He is back into the lead. So as we hop over to Lepinos, did he hit anything? And we're going to look at the replay, it looks like.
Yeah, he hit the wall.
Let's see if we can find it here. And now we're looking at it, and he was in a battle with Overgaard there. And it's very easy to get unsighted and lose control. And looks like, yeah, just got a little wobbly, and oh, tank slapper into the outside wall. That is not going to help him try and stay with those guys. I think that's his hopes at a win done.
Such a shame for Lepinos. He had a great race going, man. Has really just been contending for that thing all night, and tough break for him there.
So as we watch Marco and Levesque try and duke it out for that first position, it is still Levesque in first. And as we watch this, let's stay on this, Dexter Castro is still leading in the ST field, and he's got a handy gap to Dries Nice, who is in second.
Yeah, Castro has really pulled away. He's had to work through some lap traffic here, but he still managed to make it work. And, Nice is making it work back there in second place, but Stefan Overgaard really worked hard to get back in this thing. He is now in third, but we are in the closing minutes of this race, guys.
And we might be on the white flag. We've got 30 seconds to go. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it another lap or not here as they work their way past James Stevenson. We're on board with Abate. He's not close enough to make anything happen, though. He's not going to have that draft.
He's going to have to hope for a mistake from Levesky in the bus stop, but that's probably not going to happen.
Yes, time is ticking down. We are not going to get another lap in, it looks like. So this is final lap, I'm pretty sure. We're waiting for that white flag to come up on our screens. There it is, white flag. This is it, final lap. And it looks like William Levesque with Dave Galink running the first part of the race in the NX Racing Machine. He's got no challenge from Marco Luca Abate behind him unless he runs out of fuel. This should be it. Just putting some other cars a lap down. William Levesque is going to win his first race in the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series here in the opening round of 2015. And just ahead of them is Dexter Castro and Dries Nice. So those guys have a whole nother lap to try and settle this thing, but I don't think Dries is going to be able to catch him unless something drastic happens here.
Oh, yeah. Abate actually ran out of fuel the line.
Oh, and it close, if ever there was. And they've still got Dmitry Dukanovic getting in the way of poor Dexter.
Yeah, I don't get it. I've been watching this for several laps now, and I don't know if he's trying to help Dexter Castro or if he's trying to end his race. It's really tough to tell, but I certainly wouldn't mind asking him afterwards, hey, what were you thinking there, man?
Yeah. He's in another class. He really is. He's not fighting with them at this point for position. So he really should have been, with this being the leaders. If it wasn't the leaders, I could understand a little bit more, but he's not fighting with anyone. There's just no reason for him to be in the midst of this. But
yeah,
he is giving a good draft to Dries Nice, that's for sure. But they are not on the same team, so I'm not sure if he's doing that intentionally or what. So we've got just half a lap to go for Dexter Castro. He won here once before. Oh, and Jukovic just blew his motor down the backstretch. He definitely is going to have to get out of the way. Yes, he does. Whew, I was going to say, don't get in the way of him. I think he's going to try and coast to the line.
Yeah, but again, you know you got guys competing for position there. Why even stay on the track surface? You blew your motor. Pull off into the grass. Let these guys get by clean.
Well, right now, he's just not close enough. He's going to pull a draft. Or maybe am I going to eat my words here?
Yes.
Overguard losing position there to Freitas coming up on the outside.
We've got to stay with the leaders here because this is it. Dexter Castro won once before here at Daytona. Going to do it a second time. Third win for Dexter Castro in the 49 Motorsports machine. Kicks off 49 Motorsports with a great win here at Daytona. And Trees Nice with an excellent second place in his very first CESCS race. Well, that should be the last of the cars. We are going to go to break. We'll have driver interviews and the unofficial results after this. So stick around and don't go away during the break because we do have our upcoming races listed on the screen. So keep an eye on those to see what you can see here on GSRC. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway after we just watched round one of the 2015 Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, and it was definitely a classic with some great moments out there. But in the end, NX Racing came out on top in the GS class in first, followed by Blackadder Motorsports finishing second, Klansman Racing in third. Bombshell E3 Motorsports came home in fourth, followed by New World Sim Sport in fifth, Gabi in sixth, followed by BSR Racing in 7th. Then 49 Motorsports took home 8th, followed by Klansman Racing in 9th, and Torque Chicken Racing rounded out the top 10 in the GS class. Sean.
Yes, let's talk about it here real quick. 49 Motorsports here at the top of the podium in first place. In second place, Team Potato BE. In third place, the Asbury Motorsports number 14 entry. Third, 49 Motorsports A in fourth. In fifth, Asbury Motorsports number 426. Fifth, in sixth, JCL Sim Racing 2 in the MX5. And in seventh place, Auger Racing Team, Turn 2 Motorsports. Eighth, Rincon Racing. In ninth, RW Team Endurance. And rounding out the top 10, Torque Chicken Racing 2.
And then in 11th place in the GS class is X Motorsports. In 12th is Bad Cactus Racing, the green team. Blackadder Motorsports, number 67, came in 13th. Then NRG Racing, number 15, in 14th. 49 Motorsports B-Car came in 15th. And 16th was JCL Sim Racing. Bad Cactus Racing White Team was in 17th. And then Team KLM Racing in 18th. Sim Racing Drivers Team in 19th, and then Alliance Sky Racing in 20th.
On the ST side, Phoenix Racing finished in 11th, followed by Team Potato finishing in 12th. Alliance Sky Racing came home in 13th, followed by Crystal Racing in 14th. 49 Motorsports down in 15th. Then TrackJunkies.org team finished in 16th. 4X Racing came home in 17th, and we are getting into the non-finishers here. DNF for United Sports Car Sim Racing in 18th, and Kosritzer BWR Racing in 19th. Back over to Ayrton to round out the last of them. And sounds like that is the end of it, possibly. Here we're having some technical issues. We have some interviews to do, and actually I am going to hand off to Ayrton because he has Louis Sugali, who is going to talk to him about their second place finish.
Thanks, Joe. Louis, you in here?
Yeah, mate, got ya.
Well, congratulations, your team Blackadder Motorsports getting second place. It was definitely a great fight. Let's just start off with your impressions of the race.
Well, it was a chaotic one. Really enjoyed ourselves, both Marco and myself, in the Blackadder 66. We put some decent amount of practice in throughout the week, more so Marco than myself, but in general, I think most of the traffic and everyone around was racing hard but fair, so a few too many cautions, but that's what happens in racing sometimes, and yeah, we managed to get a second place, so we're pretty stoked with that.
There's definitely some exciting racing going on with you and Marco battling for the lead with a lot of fast drivers, so you must feel very happy about that. So did you think that you probably could have gotten with the win for the race?
Well, at the start we were pretty conservative, so I was happy to sit back and just keep the car clean, and we just managed to scrape home. We ran out of fuel spitting to the line, so really Marco was fuel saving for the last 55 minutes of the race, so you never know with the cautions and people on different tyre and fuel strategies, but hindsight's a good thing. But yeah, second place, we'll take that any day, and it's great. Marco's first race in the championship, my second, so yeah, we're pretty stoked about that. Nothing to be really disappointed about.
How do you think you're going to do coming over to Sebring for the second race?
I enjoy Sebring, the bumps, you know. I also enjoy racing with some of the competition, you know, some of the best Mustang and MX-5 guys on the service. So, yeah, if we prepare well and have a collective team effort, we should be in good stead, and hopefully consistency leads towards a good championship result at the end of the year.
Okay, and final question, how do we pronounce your last name?
So it's Kugli. I don't know how you guys have been saying
Kugli.
it.
We were way off there.
We were saying Sugali.
A lot of people have different interpretations of my last name, but yeah, Kugli is acceptable.
Well,
We'll get it right next time.
Yeah, thanks for talking to us, Lewis, and congrats again. Second place. Great result.
Yeah, no worries.
Back to you, Joe.
Up next, we have our ST winner, or at least one half of the ST winning team, and that is Dexter Castro. He ran with Chris Hewson. And Dexter with 3 wins in this series, and now 2 of them at Daytona, if I'm remembering right. Is there something special about this track that you enjoy?
Well, as I was actually talking with you guys a little while ago, it seems that all my best pace tracks are at draft tracks where pace doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I've managed to snag a couple at the big draft tracks, like here in Kansas.
At the end, there was a lot of action up at the top of the ST class. Were you trying to hang back in case anything like what happened erupted in front of you?
Actually, once we got inside about 10 minutes, I really wanted to be in first because I didn't want a caution to come out and lose a chance. So, I wanted to be in first, sitting in the laps leading up to the last, and then I thought I wanted to be in either first or third going on to the last lap.
With this being the first driver swap race in this series, what have your impressions been with how that's affected strategy and the nature of the race? And did you enjoy driving with Chris?
Yeah, it was great fun driving with Chris. He doesn't do these cars as much, so I think he'll catch up on pace sooner rather than later because you don't get 7,000 I rating or whatever he had without being at least pretty quick.
We were talking about that. I've driven against Chris a number of times in some of the slower cars, and I knew that he was a hot shoe, so it doesn't surprise me that you guys wound up on top. Well, congratulations. You kicked off the start of 2014 with a good finish for 49 Motorsports, so hopefully we'll see you guys back at Sebring.
Yep, see ya.
Up next, Sean, I believe we're going to hand off to you, and we've got Richard Losper, who drove with Stefan Oergaard, who took a 3rd place finish in the ST class, and that was in the AMS Motorsports machine.
Yeah, we've got Richard down here in pit lane with us here, and here at Daytona International Speedway. Richard, great job today. Great job out there, you and Stefan, working like a well-oiled machine there in this first race at Daytona. How'd you feel about it?
Well, thanks. I'm here. Thank you. Yeah, bring Stefan in. Let me say, Sean, that this is my first time on the podium in a CESCS race. I'm, of course, very happy about that. But I have to give kudos to my teammate Stefan Overgaard. Did an absolutely fantastic job as well.
Well, he certainly did. I mean, when that swap went down between you two, you'd done so much work in the early part of that race to bring that car to the front. Stefan gets shuffled back and then just works just as hard as you did in that second half there to bring that thing in a podium finish. Stefan, how you feeling right now about that effort today?
Pretty good. It was hard fighting. So it's the second part of the race when there was no caution all the time. It was sweaty.
Yeah, there was a lot of hard racing going on out there. Those MX-5s all came across the line there at the end, looking pretty beat up, and you had to avoid a lot of that carnage there in front of you. What was your strategy there at the end there in the closing minutes of the race?
Yeah, I had a real hard fight with Dry's Nice, and just tried to get past him. But he's a tough one to get past.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough for putting on such an exciting show here for the first race of the season. Good on you both there to jump out with a strong finish here early and get yourself up there in the points to start the season. You guys want to thank anybody for today's effort?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank all the teammates who ran today. We had a good plan. We worked together during the course of the week a little bit to work out a plan. Stefan and I seem to complement each other pretty well for this race, so thanks to you guys first and foremost, and basically that's it. Thanks to you guys.
Well, again, we can't thank you guys enough. It's been a great day here. We saw a great race in the ST class. You guys were just on point all day. Really close, hard racing. Thanks again, and we'll throw it back to you, Joe.
Alrighty, we have one more driver to talk to. Unfortunately, didn't have as good a finish today, and that is Yerdianis. He drove alongside Amjad Yaman in the 49 Motorsports Mustang, and Ayrton's got a few questions for him.
Thanks, Joe. Yeri, are you here?
Yeah, I am.
So, sadly, not great finish for 49 Motorsports in the GS class today. I know that you weren't driving as much because Amjad got into an incident early on. Were you watching that incident while he got into that, or?
Yeah, I was spotting for him for the whole race, so I saw that incident and all the other incidents that caused the cautions we had.
So,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I was about to say that most of the incidents that caused the cautions were, in my mind at least, somewhat stupid, but that will get better as the season goes on and racing will get greener.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about during the race that there's a trend that Daytona has the most caution, so it's obviously because a lot of rookies come in at the beginning, so it just takes some time for people to get used to those new drivers coming in. So what did you what was it like for you coming in because I imagine the car was already pretty damaged. What's it like starting your run of the race on a already damaged car?
Well, it was kind of interesting. I mean, I was like 8 seconds off pace or something. Well, the car was somewhat drivable after all the repairs we took, but like I said, we were 8 seconds off pace and we were actually wearing out the right front tire so much that we got a puncture before the end and we had to pit for a new tire. I have never had a puncture before in iRacing.
Wow, really? That's surprising. Well, I mean, it's good that you guys stayed on track, managed to rack up some points with what you had. Are you looking forward to Sebring? Do you think you guys are going to be pretty fast there as well?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Sebring. I mean, I like the track pretty much, but I have never driven Mustang there before. But I suppose it will be a good one.
Speaking about that, you switched. Well, you didn't exactly switch, but you're driving the MX-5 before. What's it like driving in the Mustang now with Amjad?
It's a bit different, but it doesn't really. It's a different, but it isn't really that much different. I mean, I haven't done that much races in Mustang. This was like my 5th race ever or something. But for the 4 races I have done earlier, I think I have won 3 of them.
Okay, I'm interested to see how your impressions are of the competition between the ST and GS class.
I think the GS class is pretty stacked. At least in this race, I would say the GS was the better field. But it might change up between the races depending on who shows up and who doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for talking to us, Yeri.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, back to you, Joe.
Well, we are getting ready to close up after our first race of the 2015 CESCS season, so we have a few people to thank. First off, we want to thank the official sponsor of the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series, and that is Safecraft Racing, maker of real-world safety gear for cars so that everybody keeps their heads and limbs intact. Also, thanks to Wes Eric, the organizer of the league. Thanks to iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio-Technica, Behringer, and AverMedia, the software and hardware that we use to make these broadcasts possible. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Kevin, and Ayrton, obviously. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. Thanks goes out to Dougie Beard, who creates all of the camera sets for the Global Sim Racing channel, and a special thank you to Eric Ekholm, whose music is not only found here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like our music, tell Eric where you heard it on Twitter at Eric Ekholm. Additional thanks to Casey Lalonde, who also provides us with the music for our broadcast. You can find more of his music at caseylalonde.bandcamp.com. Next race, as we said, is going to be Sebring. That's Saturday, March 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern. Going to be interesting. A lot more technical than this track, a lot bumpier. So we could see a little bit more action between cars running into each other on that one. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.